back for another live stream reaction video with your favorite dark skinned friend with a beard. You heard him. Unity. Anyways, man, it's been a lot of controversy since this Jeffrey Epstein, um, you know, case has arisen all the way up to the point where he um, allegedly committed suicide. There's a lot of different theories on that, on how he really got snuck out of the jail. There was never a noose that was ever actually recovered that was around his neck, et cetera, et cetera. There's just a lot of stuff going on. But in the midst of his death, there's 7 suspicious deaths that Trapmore Ross, that's the video we're going to be watching at Trapmore Ross on YouTube. So if you ain't checked him out, check him out. But we're going to watch this video. And he got a whole breakdown of 7 people that have died in the midst of all of this Epstein chaos. So make sure that y'all press the like button, comment, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, and please hit the hype star so that they'll go ahead and keep putting your boy in the rotation of the algorithm. You feel me? Shout out to my 419 subscribers on YouTube. We are well on our way to our 500 mark. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to keep adding more people to the grind, to the family, the ADE family. You know what I'm saying? One stream at a time. That part. Shout out to my Twitch stream. Thank y'all for tapping in. Let me go ahead and make sure everything is on the up and up over there.
Your favorite villain.
Let's see. Okay. Hopefully y'all had a good Thursday. It's about to be Friday. It's Friday over there and on the West Coast right now. So I mean on the East Coast. We'll be there in about an hour. Alright, let me check the Twitch stream real quick. Boom. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. Shout out to my dog Austizzy in the building, man. W's in the chat. W's in the chat. Let me go ahead and give you my patent. Yeah! You know what it is, man. You know what it is. Appreciate you tapping in, man. Let's go ahead and get this Twitch stream popping as well. You know what I'm saying? We new over there. I got like 11 followers over there. I got to get up to 20 to get to the next, little, completed task thing they got going on. So if you over there on Twitch, please follow and share it with your homeboys and your friends over there. You feel me? Once again, shout out to my 419 subscribers on YouTube. We are moving. We are almost to our 500 mark, so I appreciate you so much. Let's keep going ahead, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Let me get the screen right for y'all so you can see what I'm seeing. You feel me? Oh, yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time. Y'all tell me where y'all from and how cold it is where y'all at right now. Shoot. I ain't gonna lie. It's a little frosty over here. Let me see. I just got finished coming back from my homeboy. I saw him over there on the walk with the baby. We took the walk. She wanted to sit there and stop at every bush. It is cold as hell outside. I was like, I'm glad I put on the heavy sweater. You feel me? All right, let me hide that. All right, we Gucci. All right, man, let's get into this. All right, so like I said, 7 more suspicious deaths connected to Epstein. So there's more deaths than these 7 that are connected to Epstein. You feel me? But he about to break down these 7. He did this 6 hours ago. I'm going to go ahead and just press the like button because I don't use nobody's content without pressing the like button. You feel me? Teamwork made the dream work. He don't know me, but, shout out Trapmore Ross. He be getting into the details, getting the nitty gritty. It looked like this video about 54 minutes, so we're going to be probably on here for about an hour and a half because I got to put my 2 cents in. It's just how it go. Anyways, all right, the Twitch is good. Let me check the YouTube stream real quick. Make sure y'all good over there. All right, view your channel. All righty. Yep, and we are good on the YouTube stream as well. All right, Make sure y'all tap in. Tell me where y'all from. W's in the chat. W's in the chat. In the chat. And I'm going to pin the website to where our store is at. So at the end of the thing, y'all can go ahead and go check out the merch. And that's how you can help support the store. Help support the channel. All day, everyday LLC.net. Got a lot of good stuff over there. I put a lot of hard work into this brand. ADED, all day, every day. That's the fam. That's the swag. That's the lifestyle. That's the brand. You feel me? All of that. So there we go. Tap in where you from. Tell me how cold it is where you at. We're going to go ahead and get this video started, all right? Appreciate y'all tapping in. We got 2 on YouTube. And we got 2 on, what do you call it? On Twitch. Hell yeah, let's get it. All right, let me start this video before y'all get bored and leave. Make sure you follow and subscribe. Follow and subscribe.
More gang, it is very interesting when you dig into the Epstein files and you begin to notice a little pattern emerging. It seems like a lot of people around Jeffrey Epstein just die suddenly, okay? There's been a lot of examples. There's been a lot of people suspiciously just disappearing off the map. The man himself, all right, the big man himself, Jeffrey Epstein, deleted himself in prison. Okay. There's a lot of other examples of this, all right? And it's not just people in his orbit, but there's also a lot of victims. I did a video just breaking down how Pam Bondi essentially backdoored the victims of the Epstein files, accidentally leaking names of people that were victims and accidentally redacting names of people that allegedly had something to do with the conspiracy. It's insanity. And the reason why that is so bad is because whoever this secret global cabal of PDF file creators, okay, they would love nothing more than to have the names and addresses of all the people accusing them of nefarious activities so that they could delete them too. Okay, so
that's why they put Diddy behind bars so quick, because they felt like he could get a hold of the actual victims and the witnesses that were going to be coming out in the federal case. So they locked him up fast and took away all them phone privileges. But with Jeffrey Epstein, they was letting him come in and out of jail like he had a curfew. They was like he had business hours where he could be outside handling business, quote unquote, for a certain amount of hours, and then he would have to report back to the jail. Tell me where they do that at. Tell me where they do that at. Caucasian world. Heck no. That was wild. Anyways.
In this video, I'm just going to do a very quick, brief breakdown of some of the people, okay, particularly the victims of Jeffrey Epstein, who have mysteriously been deleted, who have mysteriously been checked out, okay? And it's yet another example of just this whole situation being very terrifying and very scary. So the first thing I want to show you is actually this one, okay? This isn't necessarily a victim, but this is someone who was plugged in. And I could do another video about the Clinton body count, because there's also a lot of reports that people that have anything to do with Bill Clinton also end up being disappeared and checking out, okay, allegedly. Now, this is one of the most suspicious deaths connected to Jeffrey Epstein, okay? Death of Mark Middleton, Clinton advisor linked to Epstein, bizarrely ruined a self-deletion. Okay. New details have been released in the death of a former advisor to Bill Clinton's administration, whose body was discovered on a ranch property in Arkansas last year. The manner of death in the Mark Edward Middleton 59 case, that's his age, 59, was ruled a self-deletion by the Arkansas State Medical Examiner after he was found hanging from a tree with an electrical cord tied around his neck and a shotgun wound to his chest. Okay. He went double dip. He went, I'm gonna do both. All right, I need to make sure I check out. The body was discovered by the Perry County Sheriff's Department, which responded to a call from Heifer Ranch staff of an unknown vehicle on the property. Sheriff's Deputy Jeremy Lawson responded to the scene to find Middleton's black BMW SUV with 3 boxes of buckshot and a gun case, but no weapon, according to an initial report by the Daily Mail. However, further documents released Thursday indicate that the shotgun, a Stoger 12-gauge coach gun, was discovered near the scene, around 30 feet from Middleton's body. Daily Mail reports that these documents give an explanation of how the department believes that Middleton executed his own demise stating that the recoil from the firearm's discharge caused it to be launched so far from his body. Milton, who served as an aide to President Clinton, as well as assistant to the Chief of Staff Thomas McClarty, had been linked to accused trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and was thought to have acted as a conduit between the former president and the financier. Middleton authorized at least 7 of the 17 visits Epstein had to the White House between 1993 and 1995, and he flew on Epstein's private jet, the Lolita Express. But despite reports of the Arkansas State Medical Examiner's ruling, suspicions surrounding Middleton's death ceased to be abated. Middleton is one of a number of Clinton's former associates who have died over the years in unexpected circumstances, writes Martin Gould for the Daily Mail.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with 20 handpicked products that are trending all over the world, basically validated by AI from a trending product database.
I think he's still alive.
One of the top
honestly,
vendors on
I don't
the
think
planet.
he killed himself. What y'all think?
The murder of Democratic National Committee staffer Seth Rich in 2016 is yet to be solved, with no culprit having been found, and suspicions arose surrounding the 1993 suicide of Deputy White House counsel Vince Foster, whose death has been questioned ever since the FBI files vanished from the National Archives. The files, they be vanishing. After leaving the White House in 95 and 96, investigation by the White House found that Middleton had abused his access to impress business clients and was forbidden further access without senior approval. More recently, Middleton worked for his family's Arkansas HVAC business, known to be the most popular HVAC company in the state. So, this is the gun that was apparently used, okay? And it was just blown far away.
Hey there, friends. Thanks for checking in at the range now. Today we're looking at a Stoeger coach gun.
Oh, wow.
Side-by-side 12-gauge shotgun. Let's take a couple shots and then we'll talk more about it. Yeah, this thing is cool. It's a break-open shotgun. It does have extractors there that bring the shells out a little bit to remove fairly easy. Nice walnut.
So he strung himself up with electrical cord and shot himself in the chest with that, and it flew 30 feet away.
That's crazy.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the victims, okay? Let's talk about some of the victims, because that's just the first of many suspicious things. I'm going to do an even bigger breakdown, maybe digging deeper into the accomplices that have also suspiciously been deleted, okay? One of the most suspect ones, okay, this happened on May the 30th, 2017. Lee Sky Patrick, who was one of Epstein's victims, would die of an overdose in Florida, okay?
Shout out to the chat over there on Twitch, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in.
Suspicious,
Shout
right?
out YouTube.
Very, very suspicious.
Glad we
so
back, baby.
This is a long, long article. Okay, it says she suffered tremendously, and it started with Jeffrey Epstein, twin sister of woman who overdosed on heroin years after being abused by financier as a teen, blames her downward spiral and death on the billionaire PDF. Okay. She was found dead in a West Palm Beach, Florida motel on May the 30th, 2017. She claimed to be one of Epstein's victims. Her sister Selby blames Epstein, saying she suffered tremendously, and it started with Epstein. She struggled with addiction since the time she met that guy.
So, she was 29 when she died. She met him when she was younger. Age, what, 16? So they been over here messing with underage, and it's proven documentation at this point. A lot of this stuff is not allegedly, and he's dead. So ain't nobody got no time to be sugarcoating. This dude was nasty. He was nasty.
Patrick spoke about the first time she ended up at Epstein's mansion, age 16, to Daily Mail. And she said it was sometimes in 2003. I was alone in that big mansion. Jeffrey was there with a towel around his waist. That's it. Patrick said he gave her $300 and talked her into removing her shirt, but he was getting aggressive. I got really uncomfortable, so I grabbed my shirt and left. Patrick said in the following days, she went back to see Epstein, but didn't want to discuss it, adding, it makes me angry just thinking about it. In 2008, as Epstein pleaded guilty to minor charges, she called one of his lawyers and demanded money for what he'd done, receiving a $50K settlement. And on Saturday, Epstein was arrested on federal charges of trafficking.
Damn.
So this was back in July 2019, okay? And this is another one of those things that's just been forgotten. Okay? No one's talking about this now. All right, no one's talking about this now in 2026. We're all distracted with the Epstein files, but this is what was going on. Among the stories from dozens of victims of PDF financier Jeffrey Epstein, the untold tale of Lee Patrick's descent into a personal drug-fueled hell on earth stands out in its horror. Christian school graduate Patrick, who told Daily Mail in an unpublished interview about her relationship with the multimillionaire pervert in 2015, was found dead in a room in a sleazy West Palm Beach motel just weeks short of her 30th birthday on May the 30th, 2017. According to the official report on her death, Patrick, who was known as Sky to her friends, died of a H overdose. Do we believe that? Could believe that, you know, a lot of people are dealing with awful trauma from what happened with Epstein. Maybe they're not looking after themselves. Maybe it is an accidental heroin overdose. But he just got arrested, and then he checks out within a month. And a lot of people, you tell me what you guys think, okay? While her death was ruled an accidental overdose by the local medical examiner's office and blamed on the opiate crisis, both a family member and a friend described Patrick's death as the conclusion of a chain of events kicked off by her alleged encounters with Epstein more than 15 years ago. Rest in peace to her, man. It's very sad.
I'm telling you, rest in peace.
So it says, my sister suffered tremendously, her twin sister Selby Patrick told Daily Mail, and it started with Epstein. Something happened in her when she met him that got her out of control. All right. And we need to stay firm with the victims. We need to stand solid with the victims. We need to support the victims. We need to listen to them, hear them out, hear their stories, remember them, because this is a story that's been forgotten. We're all worried about what Pam Bondi has to say today. These victims matter, even the ones that aren't here anymore to fight for justice. We have to remember every single one of these stories. It's so, so important. She struggled with addiction since the time she met that guy. It's his fault, all right?
This is why I do reaction videos, because I don't have the time to sit here and do all of the research and all this other stuff. And we are all watching these things together at the same dang time. So I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure y'all press that like button. Please comment, share, subscribe, and follow. Subscribe and follow. Appreciate y'all on Twitch. Appreciate y'all on YouTube. Back to it. Rest in peace, Miss Lay.
It's some nefarious behind-the-scenes thing, or if he just hurt her so badly that she was driven to drugs, it's still his fault. She went to rehab several times. She fought hard, but eventually she succumbed to the addiction. We miss her. Epstein, a Wall Street financier with more than $100 million in properties in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and elsewhere, was arrested on July the 6th on federal charges of S-trafficking. The arrest has shaken the political establishment to its core because Epstein, a friend of President Donald Trump and former President Bill Clinton, has been accused of sharing some of his underage victims with other powerful men.
If you have SNAP or Medicaid, you may qualify for a free iPhone or Samsung, plus up to 10 gig.
Man, I'm this stuff's so sad. In the mid-2000s, Palm Beach police investigated Epstein and accused him of recruiting and paying dozens of girls, many of them troubled and some of them as young as 14, from working-class neighborhoods for sex in a dungeon at his waterfront mansion. They called it a dungeon. The then Palm Beach County State's Attorney, Barry Kreischer, and federal prosecutors led at the time by now former U.S. Labor Secretary Alex Acosta, worked out what has been called a sweetheart deal with Epstein's high-powered legal team. It allowed the PDF to plead guilty to misdemeanor prostitution charges. Acosta, after being asked by Democrats and Republicans, resigned from his government position on Friday as details of the Epstein deal continue to roll out. In 2008, Epstein served 13 months of a 18-month sentence in a county jail where he only reported his cell after business hours on weekends.
See,
he just went to his cell in the evenings and on weekends, all right? Insane. Every weekday morning during his sentence, Epstein's chauffeured limo picked him up outside the jail and drove him.
That's real money right there. That is real money right there. Like, this fool was going like it was like his weekend punishment, and he would only go after business hours. Crazy. 13 months on an 18-month sentence before he reportedly, was found unalived.
To a fancy downtown West Palm Beach office so he could continue conducting Wall Street business. That's the crib.
That's crazy.
Mental. I'm so glad this guy's dead. Patrick was not a limo kind of girl. She rode in friends' aging cars to travel the 17 miles from her childhood home in working-class Lake Worth, Florida, to Epstein's $15 million house. Patrick's name became public when she was subpoenaed to testify in one of a series of lawsuits filed by victims against Epstein, and when Daily Mail contacted her for an interview in 2015, she agreed to talk about the first time she ended up at Epstein's mansion. She admitted then to battling an addiction to drugs, but she was clean and sober after a stint in rehab and had just applied for a job selling insurance. At the time, she revealed she was engaged and was planning on marrying her son's father, and Patrick admitted to being a wild teenager who used alcohol despite the state's drinking age of 21, and drinking, she said, made her do things she might not do otherwise. She was at Wellington Christian School when it first happened with Jeffrey, she explained, as her son Jaden, then 3, played nearby. It was sometime in 2003, I was at a party one night at a school friend's house when the other friend, a girl, said we should go to a house party in Palm Beach. I was slightly buzzed, so I said, why not? And when we got there, my friend left in a hurry, and there I was, alone in that big mansion. There was no party going on.
Her friend left her there. Oh, man.
It says the house, she said, seemed to be occupied only by Epstein and a woman who appeared to work for him. The woman took me into a large bathroom, Patrick said, and Jeffrey was already there with only a towel around his waist. I remember that he had the...
Dang, that is not her friend. Her friend said, let's go to a party, which means that the lady, probably Jesseline, whatever that lady name is, his assistant, called the other girl. She brought old girl and then left. And this fool was already sitting there with a towel waiting around his waist, waiting for her to come through. Wow.
Black and white photo of a D on the wall, and I thought the whole thing was creepy. Patrick claimed Epstein gave her $300 in cash and talked her into removing her shirt. She did, but when he allegedly asked for her to take off her bra, she declined. He was getting aggressive about what he wanted, and I got really uncomfortable, so I grabbed my shirt and left. There was little doubt about where this was going, and I ran out of the house into the street. I left because I was a scared 16-year-old. I ran out because he was so creepy and he scared the life out of me. Patrick said she went back to see Epstein but didn't want to discuss it. It makes me angry just thinking about it. In 2008, as local news media reported, Epstein pleaded guilty to minor charges. She called him...
Look, and I don't be doing no type of victim shaming. My thing is this. Yeah, she was scared. She was 16. She was a little ass girl, so he was all the way in the wrong. My thing is they come out 13 years later, when they 29, 30 years old, but they like... She literally said she went back. Why would you go back? Why would you go back? Like, you weren't, like, connected to him, working for him, none of that stuff. You went there on a whim, on a house party with a so-called friend that set you up for the okie doke. Like that, come on, man. Y'all gotta do better than this, man. That $300 was not worth it.
One of his lawyers and demanded money for what he'd done. In time, she told Daily Mail she didn't want to file a lawsuit, but still got a $50,000 settlement that included a clause she could never discuss what happened at the mansion. She said a friend of hers sued Epstein under the name AC and also received $50,000, okay? And that is a picture of the image where she was actually found dead. And it said her body was found by the cleaning crew who sawed off the door handle in order to get inside. She was partially covered with a sheet. On a twin bed in the Treetops Motel pictured, where Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office deputies routinely recon undercover for sale sting operations.
So she got $50,000, but she didn't even get a chance to spend it. As soon as she got it, they killed her. Wow.
Daily Mail contacted AC this week, but she asked through her husband to remain anonymous. AC claimed in 2008 in a lawsuit that she was 17 when she was seduced by Epstein into performing acts of lewd and lascivious conduct for Epstein, who also touched her breasts and genitalia. AC's husband, who also worked, asked not to be identified, said his wife handled the aftermath of her ordeal well, but she was one of the lucky ones. Said, I've been with my wife since high school, and many of our friends ended up at Epstein's house. We're married and have jobs and children. But for a few of the girls who were abused, they didn't turn out too good. He really messed with these girls' heads. There's been psychological scars that led to substance abuse. He named Patrick as one of the most egregious cases. Patrick's new body was found by the cleaning crew who sawed off the door handle in order to get inside. She was partially covered by a sheet on the Treetops Motel. And I already told you they do sting operations. The corpse, according to the lengthy sheriff's office report, was covered in bruises, abrasions, and open wounds. The deputies at the scene also noted open sores. Deputies tracked down a man who had been renting the room where Patrick's body was found and told him that he was driving out of the motel property when he picked up Patrick as she ran down the street. So he told the authorities she looked like she may have been beaten, was obviously under the influence of drugs. He said she agreed to go back to his room so she could take a shower and clean up her wounds. In the room, the man told deputies that he witnessed Patrick getting high while sitting on the toilet. She'd been finding baggies filled with white powder in her bra. She'd been hiding baggies filled with white powder in her bra. When she passed out, he said that he flushed the drugs into a toilet and threw out her glass pipe into the garbage. She was snoring on the bed when he left to check out. He told deputies he figured she'd eventually wake up, which she didn't. Her son, Jaden, who turned 7 later this month, was left under the care of her twin sister, Selby. You know, AC's husband said that the system may have failed them twice, once in letting Epstein go, and a second time by failing to provide some kind of support. Palm Beach County court records show that Patrick was arrested 12 times in the 14 years between the time of her encounters with Epstein and her death. Her rap sheet included possession of cocaine, domestic battery, resisting arrest, battery on a law enforcement officer, and assault. And in 2017, she was arrested outside her sister's house and charged with trespassing. She'd been banned from the property after her attempts to see her young son, who was in her sister's custody, turned violent. According to records, Patrick pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 17 days in the county slammer, and she was found dead 2 weeks after her release. So look, stories like this are just so harrowing and sad. It doesn't matter exactly how it went down. This woman's life was ended in a huge part by what happened to her with Jeffrey Epstein, the physical abuse, the trauma that came afterwards, and the lack of support from the authorities.
Shout out to the chat, man.
It's unfortunate that she's no longer with us.
Make sure y'all subscribe.
But it's sad to say that even if she was still alive, she wouldn't be getting the support that she needs from the government and the Department of Justice to get justice. And it is so, so sad. And these stories are just so important to preserve and keep alive. And it's just heartbreaking, okay? So, and there's more, okay? There's plenty more examples like this that I'm going to read you, okay? There was another example after this one, okay, which is a little bit more suspicious, all right? This happened, this allegedly went down on May the 25th, 2018, okay? This is Joe Ricari, the lead investigator of the original Palm Beach Epstein case, who died suddenly of an unexplained illness at the age of 50, okay? So I told you about one of the people that was maybe involved in connecting Epstein to Bill Clinton, hanging with an extension cord and shot himself in the chest with a shotgun, flew 30 feet away. Okay. Young woman that was abused by Epstein, found dead in a motel after getting no support and, seemingly no one to be blamed for that one. Okay. Now we're looking, the lead investigator in the original Palm Beach case died suddenly of an unexplained brief illness at age 50. Detective who led Epstein investigation died after brief illness at 50. Again, another story that didn't quite make it to the mainstream news narrative involving Jeffrey Epstein. In June of last year, decorated former Palm Beach detective Joseph Ricari died after a brief illness at the age of 50. That's basically all we know. But do a search for him and you'll barely see anything in the mainstream media or even alternative media about his death. In 2018, the Palm Beach Daily News reported on his death that there wasn't much to report regarding the cause. Joseph Ricari, a former Palm Beach detective who had a knack for making others smile, who tackled the island's largest and most important investigations, and who cared deeply for his family and friends, died Friday, May 25th, 2018, after a brief illness. He was 50. Brief illness, move along, nothing to see here. Ricari was one of the most decorated police officers in history of the department, with more than 150 commendations, 11 Officer of the Month awards, and 2013 Palm Beach Police Foundation Officer of the Year award, Rita said. He worked in several units, including the Organized Crime, Vice, and Narcotics Unit, and in the Palm Beach County State Attorney's Public Integrity Unit. He was a lead detective in many major investigations, including the high-profile solicitation of minors case against billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. No other information about the cause of death was released. In reading the account, it seems ironic that it's mentioned that Mike Mason is one of Ricari's closest friends and a former Palm Beach police officer. Said he last saw Ricari on a recent Thursday. Ricari took work off the next day to spend time with his family. Now, the story was printed on a Friday, but I'm not sure if recent Thursday would apply to the previous day or another Thursday in the past 2 weeks. But regardless, all we know is he had a sudden brief illness and died as a result at the young age of 50. Ricari was just one of 2 people willing to put his career on the line to go after Epstein. Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Rita was the other man that joined him. The Seattle Times reported on the 2 men and the work that took place in the case and the revelations that Rita and Ricari brought to light. For Rita, The business tycoon Jeffrey Epstein wasn't any more formidable than any of the other 8,000 or so wealthy and powerful people living on the island. Police had handled sensational cases involving wealthy residents before, from murders of heiresses to the R case involving William Kennedy Smith of the Kennedy family. The easternmost town in Florida, Palm Beach, is a 10.4 square mile barrier island between the intercoastal waterway and the Atlantic Ocean, populated by some of the richest people in the country. President Trump has his winter White House in Palm Beach, and the town makes news as much for its glitz as it does for its unusual efforts to preserve its well-mannered image, like banning shirtless joggers.
Hi, my name is Tami, and I would like to give you a real reason why you should consider dating.
Make sure I press the like
But it was a
button if
little
y'all messing with the
surprising,
stream.
even to Rita, to learn that one of its residents had a revolving door of middle and high school girls coming to his gated compound throughout the day and night. In their first media interviews about the case, Rita and Ricari revealed new details about the investigation and how they were, in their view, pressured by then Palm Beach State Attorney Barry Kreischer to downgrade their case to a misdemeanor or drop it altogether. The piece is worth your time to read, not just for the information the two men provided, but also regarding how they were being followed. Their trash was disappearing and political pressure that was brought to bear on them. Along with that, they were discovering in terms of physical evidence. What they were discovering in terms of physical evidence. It became apparent to me that some of our evidence was being leaked to Epstein's lawyers, who began to question everything that we had in our probable cause affidavit, Rita said. On the day of the search, October 20th, 2005, they found that most of Epstein's computer hard drives, surveillance cameras, and videos had been removed from the house, leaving loose, dangling wires, according to the police report. But the girl's description of the house squared with what detectives found, right down to the hot pink couch and the dresser drawer of sex toys in Epstein's bathroom. Rita said that his own trash was disappearing from his house as his life was put under Epstein's microscope. Private investigators hired by Epstein's lawyers even tracked down Rita's grade school teachers, the former chief said. Questions were raised about donations that Epstein had made to the police department, even though Rita had returned one of the donations shortly after the investigation begun. Ricari, meanwhile, said that he began to take different routes to and from work and even switched vehicles because he knew he was being tailed. At some point, it became like a cat and mouse game. I would stop at a red light and go. I knew where they were, and I knew that they were there. I knew they were there, and I knew they knew I knew were there. These italics are throwing me off. I was concerned about my kids because I didn't know if it was someone that they had hired just out of prison that they would hurt me or my family, Ricari said. Despite relentless political pressure, Rita and Ricari soldiered on, and their determination yielded evidence that supported most of the girls' allegations, they said. They had phone records that showed Epstein and his assistant, Kellen, had called many of the girls. Epstein's flight logs showed that the calls were made when Epstein was in Palm Beach. They obtained dozens of message pads from his home that read like a who's who of famous people, including magician David Copperfield and Donald Trump, an indication of Epstein's vast circle of influential friends. There were also messages from girls, and their phone numbers matched those of many of the girls Ricari had interviewed. Ricari said, they read, Courtney called, she can come at 4, or Tanya can't come at 7 p.m. tomorrow because she has soccer practice. That's fucking gross.
Oh, wow.
They also found naked photographs of underage girls in Epstein's closet, Ricari said. There were also witnesses. 2 of Epstein's butlers gave Ricari sworn interviews confirming that young girls had been coming and going at the house. One of the butlers, Alfredo Rodriguez, told Ricari that when he was tasked with cleaning up the master bath after Epstein's session with the girls, he often discovered sex toys. Once he accidentally stumbled on a high school whom he identified sleeping naked in Epstein's spa, he testified in a 2009 court deposition. Rodriguez said that he was given the job of paying the girls, telling Ricari that he was a human ATM machine because he was offered by Epstein to keep $2,000 on him at all times. It's just fucked, isn't it?
It's disgusting.
He was ordered by Epstein. He was also assigned to buy the girls gifts. Rodriguez gave Ricari copies of pages from a book that Epstein and his staff kept with all the names and phone numbers for many of the Palm Beach girls, Ricari said. Rodriguez, however, held on to the bulk of Epstein's little black book. I thought it didn't exist. And in November 2009, tried to sell it for $50,000 to an undercover FBI agent posing as a victim's lawyer. He was arrested and sent to prison.
Damn.
He was arrested and sentenced in 2012 to federal prison and died 3 years later following an illness. Huh?
Wow.
What? Hang on a minute. What? I can't believe another body. I wasn't expecting another body following an illness. Mystery sudden illness, whoops-a-daisy. The book, listing personal phone numbers for a cavalcade of Epstein's powerful friends and celebrities, eventually became public as part of a civil lawsuit. It listed more than 100 female names and phone numbers under the headings massage in every city where Epstein homes. So the little black book was just a bunch of victims. Okay, yeah, put that out there. Backdoor the victims again. Nice one, guys.
100.
Nice one. I can't believe it. Okay. It makes you wonder if that brief illness was brought on by outside forces. The man was in good health and only 50 years old. This sudden death is made all the more strange by statements made by Rita. In 2010, Rita gave an exclusive interview to the Daily Beast where he states that during the investigation, both him and Ricari became aware that they were under surveillance for several months by an unknown source. Rita had previously stated that the state attorney Barry Kreischer was hesitant to prosecute Epstein, causing Rita to send a letter to Kreischer complaining of the highly unusual conduct involved in the case. That state attorney Kreischer turned a blind eye to this case is made all the more disturbing when you recognize he was also in charge of Florida's Crimes Against Children unit, a position in which he could directly affect cases against individuals accused of crimes against kids. Oh, whoopsie. Wow. Whoopsie, the guy protecting Epstein was put in charge of everything to do with protecting kids. Whoops. Oh, that's the one thing we didn't want to happen. I'm sick of this shit. According to his obituary...
How do you go from zero experience to flying for one of the world's largest airlines? Let's find out as we go back.
I will.
I'm getting angry. I'm getting hot. I'm triggered. According to his obituary in 2013, Joe retired as a law enforcement officer as one of the most decorated detectives in the history of the Palm Beach Police Department and accepted a position to work in the private sector. He joined Gold Coast Beverage Distributors, the fourth largest beer distributor in the country, as the director of loss prevention. After Gold Coast was sold, Joe was then recruited again to join Gold Coast Holdings as the director of facilities. There he was responsible for more than 90 restaurant locations and several commercial buildings. Joe will always be remembered for his generous spirit and pursuit of justice for victims. His passion for helping others was contagious, and his steadfast devotion to his family was extraordinary. Joe never missed an opportunity to make people laugh, no matter the circumstances. Mental. And while his death was ruled as natural, it was just a natural quick death, of just another person involved in the Epstein files. Questions have remained, and they've circulated on Reddit, okay, about whether Jeffrey Epstein was involved in the death, especially since Epstein specifically discussed Ricari's death in leaked emails from the Epstein files. This is from 5 days ago. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Look at this, all right? So I'll read you this, and I'll read you the whole thing. It says, not sure if anyone's posted this yet. I looked through all the old posts and searched Ricari. Didn't come up with anything. But with that being said, has anyone seen this email? Joe Ricari was a Palm Beach detective who led the Epstein investigation. The email was written in February of 2019. The images are screenshots taken directly from this in Gmail. If you haven't been to Gmail, someone uploaded all the files so it looked like the Jeffrey Epstein Google account. You can search it. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, my God.
Another
fucking hell. Stop! Bruv. Let's do it. Prostitution is a state crime. Okay, this has been sent. Is this Jeffrey Epstein to Jeffrey Epstein? Is this he sent it to himself? And this is him basically defending himself and arguing why he shouldn't have been prosecuted. Prostitution is a state crime. Never before a man in his own house was charged with soliciting. Blank in Florida, first offenders are required to take sex ed classes and get pre-trial diversion. No criminal record. There is a felony solicitation for the third offense. A grand jury was held and they found me guilty of one count of felony solicitation because there were many girls. Blank. Mandatory diversion. Sentence. A grand jury usually only for capital murder cases. Ricari and Rita, police chief, pulled my garbage for months, and apparently he pulled theirs, and surveilled the house letting all the girls come and go. I called in the FBI. They did not like the grand jury result and released to the press raw sewage of police interviews, i.e. no girl was ever cross-examined, ever. Unheard of. Wow. Blank, the girls returned to the house multiple times for $200 for a rub and tug. Fucking gross. No sex. Some worked in the local massage parlors, most in their mid-20s.
This fool was over here inviting them to the house for the rub and tug session for $200. 16 years old. That's nasty, bro. Wow.
There is only press stories told by my strippers of me buying my girlfriend from Slovakia from her parents. There is only press stories told by strippers of me buying my girlfriend from Slovakia from her parents under 15. All made up to get press. FBI, so this is Jeffrey Epstein basically writing his little defense he sent to himself. FBI puts a task force together titled Operation Leap Year to investigate my personal massage activity. Nuts. Interviews my chiropractor, medical info, etc. Oh no. I love being alive. And please don't hurt me. I'm just going to read this. I'm not giving my opinion. All right, please don't hurt me. Blank worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trump knew of it. and came to my house many times during that period. Wow. The testimony of houseman John Alessi confirmed it. He never got a massage. Abe Gossman, friend of mine, ran into financial difficulty with assisted living homes. Blank, his home was listed at $45 million with no takers for months on end. He and I agreed on a price of $30 million. His wife, Blank, ends up going to jail for lying to the bankruptcy trustee about her jewelry. This is in the summer of 2004. I became the stalking horse bidder at $36 million, i.e. if someone bid higher, I would receive a fee. Trump buys the house at the telephone auction.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Only me, Trump, and his friend Pulte, the developer. He quickly puts it on the market for $125 million, serves the purpose of justification for a higher sale later. Blank, and no one will touch it. It's bought in the name of Trump Properties LLC. No idea who owns it or what else it owns. Wow. 3 years later in 2008, he sells it to Rybolev for approximately $100 million. He should have had a $50 million plus capital gain. He tells people and press he spent $20-30 million to fix it up. That would justify a reduction in capital gains. Key question, how did he report the sale? If he did at all on his 2008 tax return. I'm just going to say one thing, okay? I hope I don't regret it. This is why Jeffrey Epstein's dead. Anyway, it says...
Yeah.
He's whiling. He is whiling in this. What the fuck? He has no money when he buys that. Why are you talking about these two things in the same email? That's all I want to know. What the fuck? He has no money. When he buys this house, his business model is putting his name on real estate. Bro, Jeffrey Epstein was playing with fire. Jeffrey Epstein was... His business... Bro.
He was talking a lot of crap about Trump.
His business... His business model is putting his name on a real estate development and he gets a fee for using his name. The hotel biz is just that. Someone else buys the hotel hoping to make a profit for its operation and eventual sale. Trump put his name on it and gets a 2% fee and maybe a piece of the profit, if any, on sale. He touts the project as his, just as in his current financial statements on file as president. He lists his income as the gross receipts of the clubs with no expenses deducted, not his personal revenue, i.e. the Doral Golf Club loses money every year. It pays out more than it takes in, but he lists the revenue as his income. Amazing.
Wow.
This guy, Jeffrey Epstein,
he was putting
he was a pack pending for sure. That would justify reduction in capital gains. He has no money when he buys the house. All right, I already got that. Trump's relationship with Deutsche Bank has not always been amicable. In November 2008, he had difficulty making payments on a $640 million Deutsche Bank loan, $40 million of which he guaranteed personally. He took out to finance the construction of Trump Tower in Chicago, and he links it. In July, miraculously, Rybolev rebuys the house for roughly the same $40 million profit, and he ends the email.
Holy shit, listen to this. Okay, I'm sorry. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, so the total amount is going to be $34,000.
I'm not going to be the only one that go down. He was putting everybody out there.
Joe Ricari dies in June of 18. Same MO. And I believe this is an article talking about, is this Rybolev being found dead? You're joking. So, okay, this is the guy he's talking about. It's not the same guy that bought Trump's house, okay? That guy's name was Rybolev. All right, so rebuys the house for $40 million profit. And then he links this thing about this different Russian diplomat that was found dead in his pool, right? And it's the Russian ambassador to Sudan was found dead in his swimming pool in his residence in Khartoum, okay? Marigas Shavinsky, this is a different guy. But basically, he is one of many very suspicious people that ended up just dying. I thought this was Putin's body, to be honest. This Putin's hat, but it's insane. Okay, what are we doing here? Or what are we doing here? So this is the guy that apparently bought that property, and he is still alive currently, right now, still alive.
Right now,
he got a lot of stuff in his personal life section. That's what I'll say. All right, United States. Yeah, Palm Beach. Yeah. Interesting. Anyway, I'm going to leave that one alone. That's out of my pay grade. But anyway, okay. This is insane. So Epstein is mentioning these people getting killed casually in emails where he's trashing Donald Trump. It's very, very weird. Okay. People saying this is so disingenuous when Epstein says nobody's ever been jailed for soliciting in Florida. He, of course, leaves out the fact that there were extremely serious charges that were pled down to this BS charge. Yeah, if he was just soliciting an adult escort in his own home, sure, but that wasn't the original charges. It was much more serious than the incredible plea he secured. It says, I just saw this myself and I thought it was interesting that Epstein believed that Ricari might have died under the same mysterious circumstances as a string of Russian diplomats. I wonder why Epstein also wrote these emails to himself before his last arrest. Wow. Just wow. I'm not saying it, but Epstein is basically implying that he thinks that Trump got rid of the detective investigating him in the same method that these Russian diplomats were being deleted. I couldn't possibly support that. I'm going to move on. I'm scared. So let's get to the next person who suspiciously died from being involved with Jeffrey Epstein. June the 22nd, 2020. Okay. Steve Bing, writer, producer, and Liz Hurley's ex, dead at 55 from self-deletion. Okay. Okay.
There's a lot of self-deletion of people that are actually successful in life, right? That's weird.
Hey.
I'm not saying that money makes everybody happy, but I'm saying when you got a purpose, and
it's just stressing me out at this point. Okay, let's get to it. This is actually crazy.
Come on, man.
Steve Bing, best known for writing Kangaroo Jack and investing hugely in the Tom Hanks film Polar Express, has died, TMZ has learned. So it says, law enforcement sources tell TMZ the framed writer/producer died by suicide Monday after jumping from the 27th floor of a luxury apartment building in LA's Century City neighborhood. Bing lived in the building, and sources connected to him tell us he'd been depressed about his lack of human contact during quarantine, but we don't know if that's what was behind the deletion. Bing, who founded Shangri-La Entertainment, reportedly dropped out of Stanford his junior year after inheriting around $600 million from his grandfather, who was a real estate developer. Must be nice.
I'm trying to tell you.
Must be nice. Inheriting $600 million from his grandfather. Dropped out of Stanford his junior year. Fucking hell, give me a break. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm going to jump off the balcony. You inherit $600 million. Fuck me sideways. Anyway, after dropping out, Bing pursued a career in Hollywood, and his first big budget hit came as the executive producer of the Stallone film Get Carter in 2000. He went on to write Kangaroo Jack in 2003 and later invested nearly $100 million into Polar Express that was reportedly nearly half the production costs, but it went on to gross nearly $300 million in the box office. Bing also produced Hotel Noir in 2012, and that same year, Bing committed to Bill Gates and Warren Buffett's giving pledge to give away the majority of his wealth over his lifetime. Locked in with Bill Gates. Being donated to a lot of progressive issues. He's survived by his two children, Damian Hurley, from his relationship with Liz Hurley, and his daughter, Kira Bonda, who he had with former pro tennis player Liz Bonda. So, nothing to see here, right? Right? Nothing to see here. It was later revealed that Steve's late girlfriend, this website sucks. Let me see if I can fix this. Hang on. Steve's late girlfriend had convinced him to talk to the authorities about Jeffrey Epstein. Steve Bing's late girlfriend had urged him to expose PDF pal Jeffrey Epstein. Liz Hurley's ex, Steve, was said to have been urged by his late girlfriend to speak out about what he did know about Jeffrey Epstein. Tragic. Steve Bing was urged to speak out about what he knew about Epstein's crimes, his late girlfriend's aunt has claimed. Carrie Mitchum, aunt to Alexei Mitchum, who died last year. Wait.
Another body.
Wait.
Another body.
Every month, this Airbnb pays me about $2,700 in semi-passive income. Now you
listen. Oh man. I don't think Trump wanted none of this to come out, man. This ain't good. This is not good. I just gotta breathe for a second. I'm sorry, y'all. If y'all like the video so far, please press the like button. Please subscribe if you've never subscribed. Follow if you've never followed. Let's get back to the video. Oh man, Trapmore be breaking it down.
She died. Did she die as well?
Yes, another body, bro. Another one.
No.
Another one.
No. Stop.
Bro.
Carrie Mitchum, aunt to Alexei Mitchum, who died last year. has claimed that her niece urged him to speak about what he did know. She wrote that while Steve and Epstein weren't close, Alexine convinced Steve to make a statement via his attorneys telling what he did know. Hollywood movie producer Steve fell to his death a week ago from an LA skyscraper at the age of 55. Alexine died in July last year of an accidental drug overdose at the age of 28. Another accidental drug overdose. Yeah, another accidental drug overdose. I can't believe it. I can't. And you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you next. Oh my god. All right.
Out here wilding.
She died in July of last year of an accidental drug overdose at the age of 28. July of 29. What was going on in July of 2019? Was there anything big going on in July of 2019?
Oh crap.
Yeah. American billionaire Jeffrey Epstein was arrested that same month on trafficking charges involving underage girls, but he died in August while awaiting trial. Whoop-de-doo. His death was ruled a self-deletion, but questions have been raised over the circumstances of his final moments after CCTV footage outside his jail cell went missing. Carrie, who first introduced Steve to her niece, wrote that she had seen Steve shortly before lockdown. She said in a Facebook post, Steve also knew Jeffrey Epstein. They weren't close, and Steve didn't hang out with him. But a little over a year ago, Alexine convinced Steve to make a statement via his attorneys telling what he did know. That's, bruh. Homegirl fucked up everybody's whole trap with that. Alexine was such a staunch advocate for victims of the sex trade and felt that any information, no matter how insignificant it might seem, could prove to be useful. That's it. There's no big mystery or conspiracy here. Nah. Mirror Online has contacted the estate of Steve Bing for further comment. The LA County Medical Examiner's coroner's office said Steve's death was the result of multiple blunt trauma by taking his own. He took his own on the first anniversary of Alexine's death drew near.
That's wild.
Carrie claimed Steve and Alexan had a spat on June the 26th, 2019. What day was Epstein? That same... mate, this is insane. They had made up, but before returning to their shared home, she took what she believed to be a Xan pill. It was laced with fent and caused her to OD, and she died in hospital. Carrie recalled her time seeing Steve just prior to lockdown. I went to his apartment in Century City, bought him a bunch of groceries, and we talked for hours. He was questioning God, the afterlife, the meaning of everything and anything. He got really quiet, his eyes filled with tears, and he said, and the guilt, I knew exactly what he meant. Alexine had died on his watch, our watch. The guilt tears me up every single day. Intellectually, I know it wasn't his fault or my fault. It was a horrible accident emotionally. The whole thing was crushing. Do you want me to really hurt your feelings? So Steve Bing, all right? Steve Bing, he was apparently convinced that the death of his girlfriend, who told him to talk about Epstein, was not an accident. Okay, so there's a whole article here in Town and Country Mag. All right, let me see if I can just get a better view of this. Hang on. All right, there's some pretty crazy stuff in this article. Okay, who tweeted after his death? Bill Clinton. I love Steve Bing very much. Clinton tweeted that night. He had a big, I guess, heart. He believed in, and I will miss him and his enthusiasm more than I can say. Within hours, conspiracy theories were circulating on the internet that Bing had not ended himself but had been murdered because of his connection to the late multimillionaire ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein. Friends found this absurd, even offensive. The two never met, close associates say, and they speculated that it was loneliness that put. It was just loneliness that pushed. He got killed. He died of the loneliness that pushed him over the edge. Few knew the truth. Steve Bing feared he was on the brink of financial ruin. Okay. And that long-buried secrets were catching up to him. And by the time of his death, bad bets, unpaid bills, and wrong choices had left him with next to nothing. So some more interesting passages here, right? It said he started a record company, a construction company. He bought real estate, and he spent lavishly on producing films. $63 million for Sylvester Stallone's Get Carter, and $100 million for a pair of risky animated movies by Robert Zemeckis. Zemeckis. Yeah, I always get this guy's name wrong. But too many were expensive flops. That comedy that had once triggered a bidding war, Kangaroo Jack, was savaged by critics and ultimately eked out only a modest profit. Hollywood increasingly saw him as a dilettante with a checkbook, and by the end of the decade, he was an aging playboy. His appetite for younger women, a punchline. In 2008, Gawker named Bing as part of Clinton's billionaire boys club, which included Ron Burkle, and Jeffrey Epstein. He was definitely in the circle of dudes who were hitting the clubs and were too old to be doing it, says an agent who worked with Bing and represented some of his friends. You're in your mid-40s and you're hitting Tao 3 times a week. There's something slightly pathetic about that. Pathetic might not be the word that you should have used there. And he's in there with Brett Ratner too.
Maybe he
all
liked
right,
the
Brett.
food.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and welcome.
Listen, all right. So look, Bing's depression had apparently led him to crystal meth. Okay, there was something up with him. But basically, I'm going to get you to the craziest, the craziest part. This is where it gets crazy with the ex. All right. 2 lost souls in Beverly Hills. In June 2018, Carrie Mitchum met Bing for dinner at Mr. Lyons, a popular steakhouse in Palm Springs. Oh, Palm Springs, eh? They had known each other since their 20s, and he worshipped her grandfather. He had once said his most prized possession was a framed note on stationery from the Four Seasons Hotel, letting him know that Robert Mitchum would join him for lunch, a meeting arranged by his girlfriend at the time, Sharon Stone. Bing told friends that if his house burned down, the note was the only thing he saved. There's some missing text here. That's really frustrating. I guess it says that she was younger than Bing by 26 years, but she was an artist and had an ethereal new age vibe that he found intriguing. Despite the age gap, he saw her as a kindred spirit, and soon the unlikely couple were inseparable. A child of actors, she also suffered a bittersweet upbringing, and she shared his cynical view of Hollywood. I felt like he needed answers I didn't have, says Bing's friend Carrie Mitchum. They talked about getting out of LA, starting a family together. Bing rented a home for them in Palm Springs and promised to build Alexander an art studio. For the first time in his life, he was cooking meals at home and eagerly talking about having another child.
Oh, he's trying to
then,
put a baby
in June 2019, they were staying at a hotel in Beverly Hills. The couple had a fight and Bing asked her to spend the night elsewhere. Alexander went to a friend's house and 24 hours later, she was in a coma at UCLA hospital from a drug overdose. She died 8 days later. That's so sad. Bing became convinced that her death had not been an accident, and Carrie Mitchum says she got calls in the middle of the night asking her if she'd learned anything new from the hospital or the detectives investigating her death. Even after the death was ruled an accidental overdose from taking Xan laced with fent, Bing kept calling. He started asking me if I believed in the afterlife, did I have dreams about her, and if so, what did she say to me? I think it really shook him.
Oh, man.
So look, there's just 2 more very suspicious deaths that I want to tell you about related to Jeffrey Epstein, and these are pretty insane. This one really chilled me, and I've touched on this briefly in another video, but not in as much detail. But basically, on November the 27th, 2020, Efrain Stone Reyes, who was Epstein's final cellmate, he died just months after being released from prison. New details were revealed about Jeffrey Epstein's friendship with his final cellmate. Jeffrey Epstein's final cellmate had hesitated to leave a hellish lower Manhattan jail because he befriended the alleged sex trafficker, New York transcripts revealed. He was scared to leave the jail because he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and rightly so. Efrain Stone Reyes was the last inmate to share a cell with Epstein prior to his suicide. Reyes was a cooperating witness in a Bronx narcotics case, so he was a tell-in. He was transferred to the Metropolitan Correctional Center to a private Queens jail commonly referred to by the name of its operator, GEO Group, on August the 9th, 2019. He was transferred out. They shipped him out. All right. Less than 24 hours later, Epstein was found hanging in his cell.
So they said the night before Epstein supposedly killed himself, they transferred his freaking cellmate out to another jail the night less than 24 hours before. So had he been there, Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have been able to, quote unquote, commit suicide. I mean, I don't know what word we're supposed to be able to read. He read it on there, but that's wild.
Side shook Reyes, according to his attorney Marlon Curtin. Mr. Epstein had trouble adjusting to being in jail and the population at the MCC. He was finally placed with Mr. Reyes. They got along very well and both helped each other. Obviously, Reyes wanted to move out of the MCC to GEO, but probably the only reason he didn't want to be transferred out of the MCC was the relationship he built up with Mr. Epstein. Curtin said last year at his sentencing, "I think my client's presence stabilized Mr. Epstein. When Mr. Epstein checked out, it was very, very difficult." Transcripts of Rey's guilty plea and sentencing were unsealed last week in redacted form following a request by the New York Daily News. The unlikely friendship between a recovering drug addict with an array of health problems and the multimillionaire ex-offender was revealed by the Daily News in December. Epstein bought Ray's 51 contraband drugs to help him go to sleep, according to a close source to Ray's, and their friendship was a departure from Epstein's earlier experiences at MCC, where sources said he was threatened and extorted by inmates. After the shocking self-deletion, Ray's told inmates at GEO that he'd been questioned by then Attorney General William Barr. According to a source, a former Barr spokesman denied that account. Interesting. Ray's was released from GEO, officially known as the Queen's Detention Facility, in April after catching coronavirus. Inmates previously then told the Daily News that the jail was overwhelmed by an outbreak. You know, the beds are close to each other. There's no way you can really quarantine yourself. When the guys is like 2 feet apart, 1 foot apart, you know, everybody is around you. We share the bathroom, we share the shower. Ray said, adding that he was recovering from the vid, but still a little labored on breathing. The father of two said he hoped to get his life back together. When I got arrested in 2018, I was a man with eyes but was blind. I had a brain, but I was thinking insane. And throughout this time, I got a second chance in life. Nobody wants to go to jail, but getting arrested really saved my life, Ray said. Judge Catherine Polk Failer said Ray's was less culpable than others arrested in the takedown of a crack and heroin ring operated around the Lambert houses near the Bronx Zoo. She sentenced him to time served. Mr. Ray, sir, my sincerest hope is that you do not get any sicker, that your symptoms resolve themselves quickly, and that you join your niece and her sons or her children in the near term, and that you finally make it out to Pennsylvania to begin a new life. Ray's died on November the 27th at a Bronx apartment belonging to his mother and niece. A source said that he never fully recovered from the vid and suffered breathing problems. Ray's and his family were not interested in publicity relating to Epstein. They prefer that his cooperation, the extent of which was not public, be kept under wraps. Curtin said during a hearing last month on the Daily News unsealing request, said Mr. Ray's is not a celebrity. His contact with Mr. Epstein was basically coincidental. He happened for a brief time to be a cellmate with who I call the most notorious defendant in the Southern District since the terrorism cases of the 90s. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here, folks. So the last person I want to tell you about who suspiciously was just deleted, right? Suspiciously died. And there's all surely coincidences, right? Surely. This one came on May 23rd, 2023. This was Carolyn Adriano, a known Epstein victim who died shortly after testifying in the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. Okay?
Oh,
let's do it. Let's just, all right, bitch, let's do it. Jeffrey Epstein victim Carolyn Adriano dies from an accidental overdose in Florida hotel room. As her mom questions report on the cause of death. Carolyn Adriano, who testified against Ghislaine Maxwell, was found dead in May in a Florida hotel room. Her mom has said that nobody's giving me any answers over Adriano's death, despite it being ruled as an accidental overdose. Adriano was a victim of PDF Jeffrey Epstein, who was found dead in his jail cell in 2019, awaiting trial on federal charges. There were a few announcements of Carolyn Adriano's passing in late May. The 36-year-old died from a suspected overdose, police said, but her mother isn't sure. Is it possible that just every person that Epstein abused got depressed and got addicted to drugs? Is it possible? Just a whole lot of overdoses going down. Like, you talk about Epstein and then you overdose.
Everybody doing self-deletion or it's an overdose.
Okay. I mean, maybe I shouldn't smoke the Epstein pack. Nobody's giving me any answers. You know what? I'm over it, Dorothy Groner told the Daily Beast, because this is my daughter and she deserves justice. She got to a point where she was turning her whole life around. While other relatives have blasted the mum's claims, 36. And note the mum of history of drug abuse and the drug paraphernalia found in her hotel room, questions linger over her passing. Epstein, the PDF financier, was found dead in his jail cell as he awaited trial on air trafficking charges. His 2019 death was ruled as a self-deletion. His mistress, Maxwell, was convicted in a high-profile federal trial and sentenced to 20 years behind bars. Epstein had been convicted in Florida in 2008 of procuring a minor for working, but received a beneficial plea deal and sentence that saw him serve little prison time. It wasn't until the media reports of the deal years later that Epstein returned to the spotlight. This led to his arrest on federal charges, but he was found dead in August 2019. Okay, in July 2020, Maxwell was arrested on federal charges for her role in the high-profile ring. Adriano was one of the victims who testified at Maxwell's trial. She detailed the horrors of being an Epstein victim and how Virginia Giuffre recruited her. Giuffre also claimed that she was a victim of the ring and abused by Prince Andrew, and she sued the royal and settled for a reported $14 million. But Giuffre is also admitted to recruiting other young girls, including Adriano, into the ring. It was Adriano's testimony that helped convict Maxwell. Adriano was found dead at the DoubleTree Hotel in West Palm Beach, Florida. I wouldn't stay in the West Palm Beach. And also, I feel like this building looks a bit like Jeffrey Epstein's little little
like
island fucking cabin. Wait. Like,
Imagine making $453,000 in a single month as an affiliate marketer without relying on Google, Facebook, or ClickBank, or creating new accounts on Pinterest, Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram. This may sound
the video as well. You feel me?
Don't tell me they had the same architect for the Epstein Island. It looks the fucking same. Are you joking? Are you taking the piss? It looks the same. They had the. It's like they got the same architect in. They cooked. Me, I'm never. I don't want to stay here. Says, I'm glad they believed me and that it was wrong what Maxwell did to me. I had a voice and I was heard, Adriano told the Daily Mail during an exclusive interview in January 2022. It's so important because I have my own daughters now. Every day I think about whether there's someone who's going to put them in the situation I was in. I live with fear for my girls. During the trial, Carolyn didn't use her last name, but revealed it to help empower other abuse victims. I'm not ashamed at being a victim of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, Adriano said. For other girls that have been victimized, I want them to know that it's okay to come out and tell somebody, even if you don't want to be identified, and the sooner the better. While on the witness stand, Adriano detailed her past struggles with drug abuse and how she was sexually abused by a relative at a young age. It was substance abuse struggle that really returned and led her to her death, investigators said. Conveniently. Police were called to the DoubleTree by Hilton in West Palm Beach, Florida around 7:45 a.m. on May 23rd for Adriano's reported overdose. She went to sleep the night before with her husband, John Pitts, and her kids in the room. When they woke up, Adriano was naked and unresponsive in bed. Police found a crack pipe, a small baggie with white residue, and a needle in her purse, according to the Daily Beast. Pitts tried to give her CPR before the police arrived. Investigators determined Adriano died from an accidental OD, and the police investigation would be closed this week, according to police spokesman Mike Jackets. A toxicology report noted that Adriano had methadone, fentanyl, alprazolam in her system when she died. However, Gronert said there needs to be more investigation. She claimed vodka bottles were found in the room, but her daughter didn't have any alcohol in her system. It shouldn't be closed, Gronert told the outlet. I begged them, I sent them numerous messages, and I asked for them to make meetings, contact me to no avail.
Wow.
Gronert, who is in a legal dispute with Pitts over Adriano's will, also noted her daughter was ecstatic before her death. She recently planned to move to North Carolina to a newly purchased piece of property. However, Adriano's family blasted Gronert's assertions, while Pitts declined to comment. His sister told the outlet the mum's idea that Adriano's death was suspicious was ridiculous. Right now, our family is grieving the loss of Carolyn and prioritizing the care of her children. At this time, we kindly appreciate space and privacy, Serena told the news group. Still, Gronert said she's unable to properly grieve Adriano until she gets more answers on what happened. My daughter was wonderful, Gronert noted. My daughter was the most loving, kind-hearted person. She trusted everybody, and anybody could say anything negative about my daughter, but she was always a positive. She was taught to always find a positive. Another accidental OD.
There's a lot of ODing.
I'm not saying that all of these were assassinations, but what I am saying is that it is just so suspicious. All of these people are just checking out. I think the guy that was involved in the prosecution of Epstein's crimes in Palm Beach that died suddenly, and no one talked about it, and then Epstein is emailing people, dragging Trump, and then talking about, and then this guy died 18 months later. That one chills me the most.
That's eerie.
Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you think that this was interesting, if these leads that I'm digging into are actually helpful, and the types of things that you want to be hearing about, the things that you think should be preserved and dug into, or if...
Let's go to Trapmore Ross page real quick, see if he had anything else. Oh, man. We saw
When was the last?
We saw who was living on Epstein Island. I appreciate y'all tapping in with your boy. Okay. Epstein made millions smuggling guns, drugs, and diamonds. That's his newest one. Let's go right here.
So millions of people are digging through millions of pages of the Epstein files that have been uploaded to the Department of Justice website. And some of the things people have found just will chill you to your core. A lot of people made assumptions of what Jeffrey Epstein and this international crew of criminal traffickers was up to behind closed doors, and a lot of people didn't want to believe that it was as bad as they could have imagined. But unfortunately, some of the files that have been released, some of which allegedly have been put up and then hastily taken down because it got realer than it was supposed to, they seem to reveal at least some evidence to suggest that Jeffrey Epstein and his network were quite literally engaging in a international market for buying and selling human beings. Literally women, girls. They were emailing around, offering humans up seemingly for sale or for trade or for, I guess, lease, rental. I don't know how you would describe it, okay? But this is going around. They're saying this is a set of DOJ deleted emails of girls being brought and sold. And look, I don't even want to zoom in too far, but what you can see here, the faces have been redacted. Anything not safe for work has been redacted. But these are emails where seemingly Epstein and his associates, they're going back and forth. They're emailing out with pictures of girls that are available, that are on the market, and are being offered up. It's crazy. Okay, it is actually crazy. I did see one comment that kind of made me laugh. They said, how is there not a real life Ghost Rider or Punisher or fucking Batman at least? Because these are literally, okay, these are literally the most heinous acts that we literally need Batman. It's gotten that bad. And it's ironic they're saying the guy who could theoretically be the real life Iron Man is in the Epstein files, and he's also a drug addicted loser. Okay, now, they have apparently redacted and removed these files that contain these images, but what is still available in the files is the now fully redacted emails that apparently accompanied these sordid images. So there's not really much information to glean. Forwarded message with some information. The only thing I'm redacted is the letter C here. That's the clue. That's the only clue that we've got. We don't know who it's from. We don't know who it was to. It was forwarded to Jeffrey Epstein from someone else. The attachments were all of those images that were very creepy. And basically, you know, we don't want to believe that there is some kind of international network of people buying and selling girls, but it seems that that might actually be the case, unfortunately. And these 2026 disclosures have breathed new life into a 2020 conspiracy theory that suggested that missing children were actually being sold through a major online retailer, okay? This is going to sound ridiculous and silly, but this was going around quite some time ago, okay? The Wayfair missing girls theory. And I remember hearing this at the time and thinking it was absolute nonsense. But I'm pretty sure people have now been alleging that there is some suspicious and high-ticket Wayfair purchases being found in Epstein's emails. It's insane.
Wayfair was selling furniture with the same name as missing girls. For example, in 2019, a 17-year-old girl from Ohio named Samaya went missing. Then, a few days later, Wayfair listed a Samaya 5 shelf storage cabinet for almost $13,000. In 2020, a 16-year-old girl from Connecticut named Yuritsa went missing. And a few days later, the Yuritsa storage cabinet went up for sale on Wayfair for just under $14,000. May 2020, from Kansas City, a 14-year-old girl named Annabelle goes missing. Same storage unit, sold on Wayfair, Annabelle with the same selling for just under $11,000. January 2020, Kyla Coleman, 16 years old from Cleveland, goes missing. You can already guess, Wayfair, same name, this one discounted for $12,000. Everyone always called this a conspiracy theory until now, when a receipt from Wayfair was found in the Epstein files. Look, we know that Jeffrey Epstein's network has a history with missing girls. Don't forget this picture of John Benet Ramsey and Ghislaine Maxwell lurking in the background. Back to the receipt. It was purchased by Karina, Jeffrey Epstein's longtime girlfriend, on June 28th, 2018. It was for one item totaling $8,400. And I've tried, but I can't find out what the item was. What I do know is that on June 23rd, 5 days prior, a girl named Joanna went missing from Columbus, Ohio. And still to this day, she has never been found. But back in the day when this conspiracy was spreading online, there was a high-priced Joanna cabinet circulating in the chats from the same WFX utility company. Just for context, the WFX company is still selling the same storage units on Wayfair, but they're only $139. Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Karina, wasn't just making purchases on Wayfair. She's also active in the files for making purchases off of Etsy. We know that back during this time, Etsy also had some very weird postings. The reality is that none of this proves anything, but it does make you think that if this type of activity was happening, who was behind selling these items to Jeffrey and his network, allegedly?
Yeah, who is
Where's
Wayfair?
Epstein's longtime girlfriend, Karina? She was a dentist, which might explain why he had these rooms. Just 2 days before his passing, his estate signed everything over to her. We're talking about the properties, Zorro Ranch, the island, and hundreds of millions of dollars. So, does she know where all the bodies are buried? I say that figuratively, of course. As a
I come from a family of aviators. I currently have 10 pilots, give or take, in my family, and it took me a while.
Figuratively, of course. Okay, now the Wayfair conspiracy is wild. Oh no. It says, I also see references to furniture shipments from Bali. What? Benny has informed me all the furniture and statues have been picked up and are ready to be shipped. Daphne, could you kindly follow up with Belly to ensure the paperwork for shipping and customs is in order? I understand everything will be shipped after the holidays that end this week. Could you please provide the exact date? For the Bali shipment, yes, I will. I mean, back when the Wayfair conspiracy started circulating, an influencer who had the money decided to see what happened when they actually ordered one of these overpriced storage cabinets. Wayfair immediately cancelled and refunded the order with zero explanation. They would not answer any questions about why until days later, after lots of persisting. After lots of pestering, they just cited inventory issues. No other explanation. Yeah, okay. I looked this up after forgetting about it for a few years, and a lot of the articles that were initially written about this conspiracy have been taken down, except for the ones claiming it's false, of course. This is wild. People say, I'm starting to be convinced about this theory 100%. I just wish more decency people with money had tried buying that stuff to see what would happen. I'd be 99% convinced if they all had inventory issues. That's what's funny, right? Because the alternative explanation is that, like, furniture companies, because of their inventory, the way they list things, if they're out of stock of things, maybe sometimes it's easier to just make it $10,000 so no one buys it rather than making your inventory zero. Perhaps. I've heard that said before. But at the same time, if someone tries to buy a $10,000 cabinet and you're actually in the business of shipping cabinets, you probably muster one up. You probably put one together for your $10,000. It's possible other people tried but didn't dig around to see the listings that everyone was speculating on were taken down when the theory started getting traction on the internet, so it's possible they didn't have a chance to try. It would have been an interesting experiment. People saying this is absolutely terrifying. Where's his girlfriend? Wayfair, JP Morgan Chase banks are all a part of this. Oh, no, not JP Morgan Chase banks. Oh, no, please leave them out of this.
I don't have Chase anyway.
Now, even more disturbing, okay, are some of the very uniquely spelled names that do potentially match some of the disappearances in New Mexico near Epstein Zorro Ranch. And I broke this down in a previous video about how there were close to a dozen bodies of females found in New Mexico.
Oh, man.
You know, not too far, not completely unrealistically far from the Epstein Zorro Ranch. So, for example, one of the names that's come up here is a missing person in New Mexico, Caitlin Morrison, okay, missing from Mesa, Arizona. People should contact the Mesa Police Department in Arizona. Now, some people felt like because around then, another very expensive, suspiciously expensive couch named Caitlin, all right, would appear for sale for $26,000 on Wayfair. Right, and this is 6 years ago, so I can't lie. I questioned the whole child trafficking on Wayfair thing, and I did my own research and came across this. Funny how this basic sectional piece is priced at $26,000 and has a girl's name, and it's Caitlynne. Is it Cait? Caitlynne. So the spelling is exactly the same.
That's crazy, man.
A bit sus. Okay. Originally $42,000. This point interests me. Many of the already insane prices are marked down a bit. So how is it the excuse that the items are marked up to make unavailable to purchase work if they're in fact being lowered? Even if the human trafficking thing is BS, it's still pretty weird to charge $26K for a $450 sofa. It's really weird. The guy who was tasked with setting the prices so high no one would buy the product was also going to the Missing Children website and using names that you found there as names for the listing, since it doesn't matter. He just did it for a goof, and this is some big misunderstanding. The world is great, and we're all fine. That's what they're saying, okay? Somebody pointed it out, saying we need a billionaire to buy this couch and see what they get. Same thing they got yesterday. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, if you Google the SKU, it pulls up a bunch of couches on this other sketchy website called Pataku. Can someone whose internet's better look into this? I think there's something to it. I don't know. The weirdest thing is how strange the spellings are. It's not uncommon to name styles using girl's name, but they usually have basic spellings, not unique niche spelling. Shipping time seems off. What's the shipping time? Get it in 8 to 10 weeks. I don't even want to go there. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, okay, funnily enough, and this is in the Epstein subreddit, an ex-Wayfair employee would recently comment about her time working for the company, right? So this is in the Epstein subreddit 4 days ago. Comments from an ex-Wayfair employee. As someone who worked at Wayfair, there's a reason I quit. Hold up, pause, spill the tea. He said, oh, we also straight up told we were not allowed to discuss the Wayfair scandal in any way, shape, or form in our personal lives, and especially at work. You could get fired for it. I really don't feel super comfy, but the two things were, 1, don't question the overpriced furniture. It doesn't need review. And 2, there sure were a lot of calls about buying multiple bunk beds for 4+ kids, like 4-kid bunk beds. But they're buying like 10 of them. Bring it up to management. Just sell it to them. That's your job, often purchased by aggressive and shady men. I want to say for the record, okay, this is just internet speculation, all right? I don't want Wayfair to send the hitters at my head, all right? I'm just reading a bunch of internet speculation. Love being alive. Don't know. This is probably all just crazy conspiracy theories, all right? These are all opinions and internet conspiracy theories. None of this is absolute fact. And I actually do like Wayfair. I've ordered a few pieces of furniture off Wayfair. Reasonably priced, however, okay? So don't come at me with those sorts of accusations. Anyway, okay, so I mean, if you think about it, drop shippers are a fantastic opportunity to illegally sell items and launder the money. That's a good point. The option to purchase is not for everyone. This tells me that only certain rich white PDFs have access to purchase, almost as if they have a catalog with the names and pics of the people so they can go online and purchase. What? Oh, man. People saying, okay, to be fair, all right, we'll give the other side. Seems like attention seeking to me. There's a reason why I quit working at Wayfair. That grabs people's attention as to why and what happened. Then she proceeds to mention 2 things which were already very public, nothing to see here. And this person straight up says, bullshit. Pizzagate is being proven to be a psyop, hoax, distraction from the real crimes. This is a desperate attempt at distraction. Okay? I feel like, that's a valid opinion to some people. I think there are distraction campaigns going on all sides of the media zeitgeist. But anyway, there are some more email chains after this that seem to showcase a recurring pattern of kind of disturbing behavior when it came to Jeffrey Epstein's inbox and making purchase of things. There was a disturbing back and forth between Epstein and an alleged partner where somebody would said, you offered to buy my baby. And so I haven't seen anyone talk about this one yet as far as I know. Let's have a look, all right. It's going to be bad. This is going to be bad. This is bad. Oh, okay, let me get nice and dig deep into this one. I'm going to read it from the bottom to the top, pause. So that it's all it says. There are emails after emails stating you need to be productive, contribute, helpful, you respond, treat me like your child. And then the response to that, yes, that's true, but your idea of contribution was about massages, cooking, dancing, organizing closets, arranging flowers, serving food, and other activities fit for intellectually challenged people who are not capable of accomplishing anything meaningful. The activities you encouraged were only good for you. Zero benefit to my potential growth or potential career. You constantly underestimated me. When I decided to go to design school, you didn't let me do my assignments because you felt I should be spending my time catering to you. It wasn't worth the flight, so I gave up and quit. When I started to fly and do something special for my personal growth, for a change, you were against it too. I refused to be discouraged by the same fights and spent time learning anyway. You still paid for it, which I thank you, but it led to endless arguments and ultimately the end of our relationship. So who is this he's talking with? It's redacted, okay, but it's Jeffrey Epstein going back and forth with what sounds like some kind of romantic love interest. It says, design school was not about design, but about drafting. Again, yes, the things I asked you to do was to contribute to my life as opposed to simply taking without giving. You still find that odd since you got clothes, money, travel, healthcare, school. I asked that you do something in return again, and I still think you should only get. You have made my point for me. They replied, well, we disagree. It may not have been cooking and filing your nails, but I did more than anyone else you know would ever do for you in the same situation. And this is 2013, 5 years after his PDF charges. It says, and I agree, I've supported you for years because, however, you see zero happening that supports your contention and that I was doing this as part of an agreement. And here comes the bombshell. It says there were quite a few things that were known parts of our lives that we never discussed in writing. I can't convince you of what you said, but your interpretation of past events and emails is different from mine. While they may not confirm the existence of your promise, they certainly don't disprove it. Maybe you forgot, maybe you didn't mean it, but it doesn't change the fact I lived for years under the impression that my future was not safe. I can't go back 10 years and change my decisions. I do not know what to do with that information now. When I met you, I wouldn't accept any money from you. You used to sneak $100 bills into my fake Louis Vuitton purse. As time passed, you made me believe that it was okay to accept it, expect it, and be able to feel safe. It was not my idea. It was very uncomfortable for me. I would never come up with such a deal, ever ask you for money. It was only after years of you making all kinds of voluntary promises and commitments that I started to believe that it was okay and I could rely on you for your support. You made many unusual offers. You offered to buy my baby 6 months into our relationship. And 6 years later, you offered to support my next boyfriend. Do you remember that? It's probably not in any emails either. And I understand nobody would believe it. Whoopsie, now you're in the Epstein files. That would be arguable, except for the fact that, again, it's not like a contrary position does not exist. It exists over and over. Yes, you didn't like taking cash, but took everything else.
If you have CalFresh, Medi-Cal, or SSI, you may qualify for a free iPhone 11, plus up to 10 gigabytes of data every month.
Okay. People are saying, man, the way this freak exploited women is gut-wrenching. Everything is money with this guy. Buy them young and throw them out later. And for him to spend hardly any time in jail for the 30 years of this going on is sickening and speaks volumes of who's who and who in the world enabled him. Death was too easy of an escape for this mofo. The world is a horrible place. Horrors beyond imagination. People saying, baby buying aside, he's clearly such a manipulative asshole, and he clearly thought he could just buy people, these women included, and play mind games about it. People are saying, who was he talking to? People are saying, Nadia, possibly. She became a pilot in 2012 after allegedly being sold to him when much younger. Edit to add, there are other emails between them, and apparently there are photos where she appears to be pregnant that were posted in here 2 days ago. So this is in r/Epstein. It says, Epstein once bragged that he purchased Nadia Marchenko, age 14, from her parents overseas, kept her as a slave, and later used her to get others involved. She has been missing since early 2024 from New York City. She vanished right after the files were unsealed. Her whereabouts are unknown.
Oh, man.
What the fuck? She vanished. Bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. Why blur out the other creeps? They knew what was up with the whole situation. Okay. I went looking for the photo. It appears in this article, A History of Epstein Island, with a bunch of other photos from there. Unfortunately, the version here has been cropped. Same thing. It identifies his conspirators. Insanity. Okay? Insanity.
That's wild.
I assumed that she would have fled out the US as she's a criminal herself. She was his accomplice and she lured and abused girls too. She was granted immunity in an 2008 legal case, but all she did was plead the fifth to everything and shared nothing. She also visited him in prison supposedly 70 times when he was in Florida. I think her place in New York was still being paid for by Epstein's estate that Mark manages. Wow. People saying, I'm sure Epstein bought more children than just her, and I think how could a parent sell their child? But I scroll through TikTok to learn about how parents mess up their own kids and have sold their kids to be bad stuff happen to them. And this happens in every community. It happens in yours. It might happen in your neighborhood or apartment complex. It's so common. I'm disgusted by people. Okay, I don't even want to get into some of this. It's going to make me sad. But that's crazy, all right? People are saying, is this Nadia? There's pictures going around. People saying they don't know if that's her. They found a comparison. They think it's totally her. But really, this is the one that people think is crazy. They're saying that's Nadia pregnant, and that's what she's talking about when they're saying he offered to buy her baby. Apparently, that is a picture of her with child, okay? I wonder how many kids he has running around today who have no idea who their father is. I bet it is dozens. It's actually twisted. It is twisted, okay? Now, Elsewhere, okay, there were more
100 girls in
mentions
this black book.
apparently of this kind of thing. And one of the instances that's been going around is a December 2015 correspondence between Epstein and members of the most powerful, one of the most powerful family in the world, the Rothschilds. Okay, this is going around. People are saying asset girls. Is that talking about working girls? And basically people are saying, I'm starting to believe that one of the Rothschilds, I'm scared, played a role in the ring. The more I read into the emails, the more I believe she's part of Mossad with Epstein and Ehud Barak, right? Got all these photos, they're trying to piece the dots together. Found a document where Epstein, Rothschild, Alberto, Pintos were all subpoenaed. It makes me feel like American intelligence believes they revolved. They're all on document together with info to chase leads, okay? It says, it's basically this one. It says, good luck today, let's get this closed. Have Kathy meet with David and his people, review Rockefeller, hire asset women. Do we use DOJ in its harsh language to remove Benjamin, begin family plan, look for partners? What kind of partners? What kind of asset girls? They're saying external auditors just announcing that FINMA is requesting age limit. Hilarious. I'm sure they will find unacceptable wordings. Okay. I'm sure you're enjoying Misha. Great fun. Did you get my present? Have fun in Davos, mingle with the women. They are the future. Did you get my present?
The future. Oh man,
I'm just
that is disgusting.
All I have to say about this is if you're going to redact the sender, you need to redact the signatures too. All right? Crazy. It's crazy. There's just so much crazy stuff going on. So there'll be another email that a lot of people have been desperately demanding that whoever sent this message to Jeffrey Epstein be identified. It's just simply an email with an image and it says age 10. We don't know what the image is. I don't want to know what the image is. They're saying members of Congress will be able to review the unredacted files in the coming days. They need to see who sent this. All right, they need to see it. Okay, it needs to be uncensored. People need to know. How is this not a criminal offense? Why isn't whoever sent that prosecuted? The question is, why is the sender's name redacted? They're to protect the victims, not anyone else. Seen this over and over and over again. The government is protecting the perpetrators themselves. I'm scared. I'm scared. All right. Apparently there's another email that says age 11 or age 12. Both are disheartening. Let's hope the committee and the other folks do something about this. Okay. Now, further emails from the following year would show more discussions regarding methods to raise newborns without mothers. It's just the depravity is just reaching untold lows. So here's another message. Okay. From Mark Tramo. It says, hi, JEE. Thanks for sending Richard Johnson my way. I trust the kind words I shared with him are acceptable to you. If not, please let me know ASAP. I'm on the road and my cell is blank. If A-OK, then I hope you realize this recognition for all you do for so many of us is, in my opinion, overdue and well-deserved. Cheers, Mark. P.S. I was just reading today that newborns will... I've seen this one. This one's disgusting. Disgusting. Will suck on their pacifier more vigorously if it triggers playback of a recording of his or her mother's voice than another woman's voice. Have you read David Brooks's book, Social Animal? Was #1 at New York Times for quite a while. Yeah, I think just burn the whole thing down. We're good.
Stop texting each other and just talk.
We're not texting each other. We're working deals.
We're good. The whole thing, just burn it down. Get rid of it all. Okay, get rid of it all. I don't know if this was an idea of we want the kids to do this, or it's we need to think about ways that we can get the kids to be comfortable without their mothers around. I'm going to do another video where I'm digging into this idea that he was trying to run a baby farm. I'm just tired of it, man. I'm so tired of it. Now,
baby farm. Oh,
the last thing I'm going to show you in this one, okay, and this seems to be the final nail in the coffin, really, for everything I could find on this topic. An email from September 2018, just a year before he was arrested, where Jeffrey Epstein seemingly discussed trafficking straight up, all right? So this says, not a sex trafficking ring. Explain this. So I haven't seen much attention to this email chain, which in my opinion is the most damning evidence of obvious trafficking of underage girls in the files, right? And this is an email that said that she had surf blank, and then it said underage ? And then someone replies, she said she was 14, 15 years old. And he said, you can fly to see her if you like. And then this is another message. This is in a wider. I don't even want to mention this, but it's like, it said there was basically, I don't want to read it, but it says there was a video of them in the bathtub. She said she had 4 or 5 jobs with them. How long has she worked for George Models? Odessa, question mark. Is that, I guess, was that Odessa, is that Ukraine? It says, waiting to hear from blank, setting up meetings in Moscow and Vilnius for now. Blank from Odessa, is she past porn girl? You might talk to her as if she have lots of friends. Okay, this is just twisted. This is absolutely twisted. We need to know who sent these emails. We need to know who he was corresponding with. This is actually insane. This is actually insane. Okay, had to remove the link to the mentioned agency, but it still operates today. I don't even, this is actually it's getting out of hand. It says, oh, we know they lied about this as soon as any of us read anything, and realistically, as soon as we heard the words come from the gov's mouth. Oh no, oh no. At the very least, all of the traffickers belong in prison forever if there were no Johns other than Epstein, which is a lie. Attending parties to meet trafficked women, let alone minors, is still a felony. Bill Gates should already be in jail regardless of victim age. Just a completely botched cover-up. And now people involved should be getting prison sentences too. That's just a comment. I'm not saying that. I'm good. I'm going to stay out of it. I'm going to go back to covering rapper beefs because this is actually so scary. There is a mostly unredacted name of the person who was communicating in there. Just noting. Uh-oh. 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 Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I'm scared, all right? I'm scared. There's stuff in here that just goes so far. I don't even want to go. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's legitimately so many emails that discuss trafficking over and over and over again. I feel like the FBI would be better run by those of us who seem to comprehend what we're reading. I'm scared. I'm grossed out. That's actually, all right, so look, this collection of links, the idea that people are being bought and sold, this is probably one of the grossest ones that I've covered in this. I'm getting really tired of covering this now, but, you know, I feel like every day I'm thinking we ain't going to get anything crazier than what we've just seen, and we do. And it's just messed up, and it's just really sad. I hope it stops. I hope that humanity as a whole can heal from this and move forward positively. It is so, so sad. Some of the worst things that you could possibly imagine are actually going on in the world by the sounds of it. The only thing that we can celebrate is that Jeffrey Epstein is just dead. We're smoking him. He's in a pack. He's cookies. He's runts. It's what he deserves. He deserves it. All right. Thank God. He is down there in hell having a party with everybody who belongs to be down there. That's the best solace that we can take from this. Okay, right now. And I, for one, will be going to roll up the Epstein pack and relax after this. Okay, so let me know what you thought of this video. I'm going to do some more stuff on Epstein tomorrow. I might cover some other stuff, but really.
We got one more. He did something 5 hours ago. How long is this thing? All right, it's a short one.
Did you lose money sports betting on DraftKings or FanDuel? We may be able to help you get significant compensation under
More gang, there's been more and more revelations coming out from the Epstein files, and one of the craziest connections that I discussed in a previous video was the idea that there was a sultan from Dubai, somebody in the very, very high levels of, you know, the government and royalty in the United Arab Emirates that was apparently involved in this web of depravity that Jeffrey Epstein was engaging in. And we saw that it was exposed who this person was. I spoke in a previous video. There were emails back and forth allegedly of Epstein saying that he had enjoyed a torture video that was sent to him. Apparently, they're saying that this sultan sent it to him, and it was a famous video of a guy being tortured in Dubai by members of the royal family and the police. Very, very depraved stuff. But now there is a crazy thread that's going around on Twitter that is basically saying that this sultan, all right, and his high level, being such a high-level operator in the world of, you know, Middle Eastern power dynamics, royal families, governments, he might have actually provided Epstein assistance in his smuggling and trafficking operations, and it is all getting exposed on X, and you're just not going to believe it. So I want to break down this thread for you guys in today's video, and you might be shocked at what you hear. So this is going around, okay, from Adam Cockram, all right? He basically is breaking it down. He's a professor, policy consultant, independent journalist, and father. He's trying to make the world suck less. All right. Unfortunately, the world does suck pretty hard right now. And unfortunately, the reason for that is some of the most depraved individuals out here doing the worst things, getting away with it. But no more. We're going to expose them in this video. We're going to expose them on Twitter. And this thread is diabolical. So this tweet, it says, the New York Times released a great piece of pictures from Epstein's home showing Trump, Musk, and hidden cameras. But they missed the most important picture that proves Epstein's smuggling crimes and fills in a huge part of the puzzle. So let's just take a little look at these pictures, right? Epstein smiling alongside Pope John Paul II, Mick Jagger, Elon Musk, and Fidel Castro. What an insane lineup of people to be tapped in with. Nearby was the photo from 2000 showing Mr. Epstein with Mr. Trump and the future First Lady, minus Miss Maxwell. Cropped Ghislaine Maxwell out of that image. That is hilarious. But also, mounted in a corner above his bed was a surveillance camera, as photos showed. Okay? So, part 2 says this picture right here shows Epstein being very friendly with Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, a Emirati businessman. Okay, he holds 3 important positions: chairman of the Jebel Ali Free Zone, Jafsa in Dubai, chairman and CEO of DP World. I still can't get over the fact that it's called DP World, and chairman of Branson's Hyperloop One. They're looking close, they're looking cozy. Jeffrey Epstein even wearing the headgear there, right? This is pretty crazy. This in itself is a bad look. Why is any of this relevant? When Epstein was arrested for the first time, they found in his safe 2 passports, one of which was an Austrian passport. The passport was authentic, but included a fake name for Epstein and listed his location as Saudi Arabia, okay? So an Austrian passport, fake name, and it says he's from Saudi. Okay, and this is some of the paperwork going around that basically says the defendant's July 16th, 2019 letter asserts, as for the Austrian passport, the government trumpets it expired 32 years ago and the government offers nothing to suggest, certainly no evidence that Epstein ever used it. The passport contains numerous ingress stamps, including stamps that reflect use of the passport to enter France, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia in the 1980s. They've not worked out how he obtained this foreign passport. More concerning, the defendant hasn't disclosed to the court whether he is a citizen or legal permanent resident of a country other than the United States. Wonder what's going on, wonder where else he has that he could have run to. According to the defense, this passport was simply a fake for protection. But the government had evidence that this passport was actually used to enter France, Spain, the UK, and Saudi Arabia, and other countries during the 80s. It says, and it just so happens that it was during the 1980s that Jeffrey Epstein was running around Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, involved in arms deals with Douglas Lease, Adnan Khashoggi, responsible for the Iran-Contra deal, and the Al-Yama arms deal. So I never thought, this is really interesting to me, and it actually is answering one of the biggest questions that I've had, because I've seen that video of Jeffrey Epstein talking about, with Steve Bannon about finances, and look, I'm no financial whiz. I studied A-level economics, okay? But Jeffrey Epstein wasn't some financial genius. When you see him interviewed about finances, he didn't really have anything crazy to say, like, oh, because he talked about fractional reserve banking. The bank, they only have to hold $1 and they can lend out $9. Anyone that knows about economics and finances, that's not high-level stuff. You don't know, you're not, people are like, oh, he's exposing the financial system. Yeah, sure, but everyone knows that's how, anyone that has even a shred of financial literacy knows that that's how the finance system works. That's how fractional reserve banking works. You give the bank money, it goes into, the bank holds the money, they can lend out multitudes more money than they have on hand. That's how it works, right? That's how they are allowed to enable the economy to grow, whatever, okay? Epstein was not some financial genius. How was he so rich?
No Facebook ads, no TikTok videos, no website, affiliate marketing without the usual road.
Well, now we're finding out he's out here doing arms deals, okay? He's running PDF islands. He's managing money for other creeps like Les Wexner, okay, taking power of attorney of all of their money. He's not really doing, he's not some financial whiz. He doesn't know what he's doing freaky, weird shit behind the scenes to make bread, okay? So he's doing arms deals. Didn't know that. This continued into the early 2000s when Epstein's wealth rapidly grew, as did his influence in the US and UK, including close ties with Tiffany UK's CEO, Rosa Monckton.
Who is that?
At the time, he bragged to several people that he was making a fortune smuggling arms, drugs, and diamonds out of Djibouti, where he knew the owner of the port, which was published in a 2001 article. He was also known to regularly bring guns into the UK, so he was dealing straps now. Now we're finding that out. He told several of the same people he's making a fortune out of arms, drugs, and diamonds. He told one person, journalist Edward J. Epstein, what? Wait, what? How that journalist, he related to you? That he knew the owner of the deepwater port of Djibouti on the Horn of Africa, a smuggler's paradise, so well he was basically in charge of it. Okay. So this is an article written about him apparently from way back. It says, dressed more suitably for a shopping trip on Fifth Avenue than an English pheasant drive in his LL Bean hunting boots and $1,000 leather parka, Jeffrey E. Epstein cut a curious figure alongside Ghislaine and Andrew at the Sandringham shooting party. Oh dear. More at home in the world of international finance than the English countryside, the immensely wealthy financier and property developer maintains a mysterious presence in New York. He has a license to carry a concealed weapon once claimed to have worked for the CIA, although he now denies it, and he owns properties all over America. Once he arrived at the London home of a British arms dealer bringing a gift, a New York police-issued pump-action riot gun. God knows how he got it into the country, a friend said. He's also a close associate of multi-billionaire Leslie Wexner, owner, among other companies, of Victoria's Secret.
Oh, man.
Epstein has the use of Wexner's $40 million New York house and owns 7 cars, including a V8 Corvette, a 1964 Volkswagen, and he also owns a $3.5 million pink villa in Palm Beach and a $3 million 26,700 square foot fortress-like hilltop mansion in New Mexico, fitted with $600 bed sheets. One local said they think that he's flown in from Mars down here. Epstein began working for Wexner in 1985, and by the late 80s, had become wealthy through, among other things, handling his worldwide air freight something. All right, I would actually like to know where the rest of this article went. But anyway, let's continue with this thread, okay? Bragging about bringing guns illegally into England. That's crazy, right? So why is there a lot of 7 of 8s? There's a lot of 7/18s here. No real clear evidence has ever tied Epstein to Djibouti or suggested any real connection to Saudi Arabia or Dubai or any smuggling other than knowing Adnan Khashoggi and Douglas Lease. That is, until today. Until you look up who operated the port of Djibouti in 2000s, is none other than shipping company DP World of Dubai, run by Sulayem, which took over port operations formally in 2000 and ran the port until 2018. The economy of Djibouti relies heavily on the strategic location of its port. About a third of all daily shipping in the world passes through the northeast edge of Africa. The port has been at the center of a legal dispute between port operator DP World and the government of Djibouti since 2018, when DP World's port concession was revoked by presidential decree. Didn't like that one. Okay. Now, this one says, Sultan Sulayem has been made chairman of the Jebel Ali Free Zone in 1985, which became the core hub of DP World's future trade. The money to fund the initial port at Jebel Ali was arranged through British-Egyptian Mohammed Al Fayed, who at the time was married to Samira Khashoggi, a Scottish-Emirati businessman, and Scottish-Emirati businessman Mohammed Mahdi Al Tajir. Adnan Khashoggi and Bruce Rappaport, both arms dealers and port investors, had cargo come out of the port of Djibouti at that time, all while it was under the management of Ilyas Musa Dawal, an Ethiopian immigrant to Djibouti who had studied in France and made a prominent connections with French authorities. In the 2000s, before any public tender offer, DP World under Sultan Sulayem suddenly announced that they had a 20-year project to manage the port of Djibouti. It was unclear to everyone how Sulayem and Dawal were connected and got this deal approved. But at the time, Maxwell and Epstein had their claws deep in French society, throwing lavish parties in the Riviera. Their contacts there, and those that visited the island, are still sealed by courts due to French privacy laws. Oh, the French. Oh, the French and their creepy stuff. And it turns out that one of the contacts was Jack Lang, a French cultural minister with a history of defending PDFs, and who was friends with Woody Allen, Harvey Weinstein, and Epstein. But he also led the Arab World Institute, which 3 of Dawala's professors frequently spoke at and took students to, Trion, Signoles, and Davy, and created the Fête de la Musique and hosted multiple music and theatre organizations that Ghislaine Maxwell was a patron of. Let's find out more about that. So before his 2019 in July arrest, Epstein's shadowy nonprofit Gratitude America lavished funds on this obscure Paris project and 2 other international groups, a sex clinic in Rome, Ooh La La, and a Lithuanian ballet company. The French organization, which has no website or social media presence, launched in 2018. The same year it received $57,897 from Gratitude America. 2 of Lang's former aides are officers of the association, while 1 current employee of Lang's office is a representative of the group. Jacques Renard, the group's treasurer, was deputy director and chief of staff under Lang's culture ministry during the 1980s and early 90s. Christophe Degruel, the association's president, is a city councillor in Blois who worked as Lang's chief of staff in the education ministry from 2000 to 2002. In 1977, he signed a letter published in Le Monde defending 3 men imprisoned for sexually abusing A minors, let's say. Okay. Oh, no. Lang, 81, has defended Woody Allen in the accusations that he messed around with his daughter, Dylan Farrow, when she was 7 years old. On the day Farrow broke down in tears during a January 2018 interview with CBS This Morning, Lang tweeted in support of Allen, writing hashtag Woody Allen forever. And the typo, I'll love you. That's twisted. That one's twisted, right? That one's actually twisted. So, moving on. The problem is, who connected Sultan Sulayem to Ilyas Musa Dawale and pressured the Djibouti government on this deal? Even if he knew Dawale at the time, previous evidence only pointed to Epstein knowing Sulayem as of 2009. 2009. The 2019 JP Morgan report said that Epstein appeared to have forged close relationships with senior executives of the bank and with government officials, including Dubai's Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem and British politician Peter Mandelson. Epstein tried to connect Mandelson and bin Sulayem to JP Morgan executives Jess Stanley and the bank for business deals and international expansions. The journal notes that in December 2009, Epstein wrote emails to both bin Sulayem and Staley to set up a meeting between them. In one email, Epstein told Staley, Sultan is laying the groundwork for you to establish a serious presence. JP Morgan reputation in this region is poor.
Imagine being able to reach 15 million views on the first video of a new YouTube channel. You start at 0 subscribers. Imagine that video attracts 5 million views in its first month and a half.
And so it goes on to say, however, you'll notice that in this picture is in Dubai, likely in Jebel Ali, and both the men are fairly young. The problem is Epstein never officially visited Dubai other than 2 short layovers in 2002, which were under 4 hours. But Epstein did visit the Middle East in the 80s and possibly the 90s using his fake Austrian passport, which we know from statements of the US prosecutors who said the passport did have travel stamps. And there you go, you got even closer images of Epstein with his sketchy little passports. What a weirdo, what a creep. What a gross creep. I hate his face. His face is punchable as fuck. To date, no one has ever proven the claims of Epstein's smuggling operation, nor proven that he has any contacts in Djibouti or Dubai prior to 2009. That picture in Dubai, somewhere between 1980 and 2002, proves he already knew Sulayem well at that time. It also makes it likely that Epstein did know Ilyas Musa Dawa of Djibouti and used this as a way to smuggle assets into France and the UK for the likes of Douglas Lease and Adnan Khashoggi, especially once you know they all had offshore entities open for them around the same time, while being a client of Epstein's financial services company and using the same providers and patterns that both Epstein's own entities and the Maxwell Family Trust used. So you got owners of these trusts in the Pacific, British Virgin Islands, Cyprus Investments, the Adnan Khashoggi Group, British Virgin Islands, linked to Switzerland, plenty of offshore money, okay, going on, all right? So it says, so one small picture helps us confirm the timeline. When the Rolling Stone reported in 2001 that Epstein had previously bragged about smuggling via Djibouti, he did have the correct contacts for this to be true, and therefore he likely smuggled guns, drugs, and diamonds. And yes, this took several hours of research to figure out. After seeing the pictures, I've also learned Djibouti has pretty shite records, okay? So we're actually finally beginning to understand how this guy had his money. I think it is absolutely insane. We've heard all of these things. He was a financial wizard. He was a financier. He was smuggling guns, drugs, and diamonds, allegedly, around the world, all right? That makes sense, right? He's a scumbag. He made his money bringing death, destruction, and negativity around the world. He was a PDF file, all right? He put nothing but negativity out in the world. He's no financial genius. He didn't help people with their investments. He didn't help people grow their pension funds for retirement. He didn't come up with really smart ways of playing the stock market and picking good stocks and getting his money up and running trades. And he's a fucking just depraved individual who preyed on the weakest and worst people in society, all right? Running guns, we can believe in the, your right to bear arms in America, that's all well and good, but smuggling guns into countries where they're not supposed to be, smuggling drugs, blood diamonds, controlling ports, it's lame. This guy is not respectable, and it's just at least we're finally beginning to find out where that money came from, because the idea that he was able to convince the whole world he was this big hotshot financier, bruh. No. He's no Warren Buffett, all right? So let me know what you thought of this. I'm going to break down a few more other interesting things. I thought this one was a little bit unusual, but this thread was definitely really interesting to me, so I wanted to break that down. I will be doing a full-blown deep dive into Ghislaine Maxwell later on, either today or tomorrow.
That's who I really
I'm going to do a full deep dive into Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to do a full deep dive into Jeffrey Epstein's cellmates while he was locked up. I think that's going to be really fascinating. So stay tuned for those. Thank you so much for watching all the content, and I will be back in the next video, guys. Peace out. I'll see you soon.
I just built a budgeting app.
What? How?
Base 44. Look, it pulls all our expenses into one place and breaks down spending by team.
Nice. That's actually pretty good. You're going for
We're talking about Epstein was cloning babies. This is coming out from TMZ.
Alfredo, how are you? How you doing? Me too. Come on in. How are you? Good. You have the documents with you?
I have it. I have a friend over there. I just want to see that you have everything so we can.
Absolutely. You have a friend right out here?
Yeah, no, he's in the car.
Okay, I just want to talk to you though.
No. He's not going to come in.
Okay. All right, let me grab it. I'll show you.
What you just saw there is a bombshell video of an FBI sting operation released by the DOJ featuring Epstein's old butler, Alfredo Rodriguez. In this video, it looks like Rodriguez believes he is selling a personal notebook of Epstein's to someone representing a lawyer of Epstein's victims. Now, Rodriguez claims the contents of this book is full of the names and contact information of wealthy businessmen with whom Jeffrey Epstein was associated. Take a look at some of the shocking clips we have from this video and notice when Rodriguez mentions Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly being in possession of a database including naked underage girls.
Here is all the things in which I highlight this for you. If you want to be interested in this,
he went there to go snitch and ended up going to jail himself.
And when I got the subpoena, we had to invite them to the garbage. You will see a lot of important people here, but let me just show you this.
To start a podcast with Riverside, all you need is a concept and a way to record it.
Burn it all down.
Here's how it works.
Anybody involved need to go to jail. Period.
Personal secretary of texting, her address in New York, emails, all of this they asked me, I don't remember. They used to have a computer so powerful, they used to have a word right here to call the computer, because they used to download pictures like that so fast. She had nice press, she had this and that.
You saw that stuff?
Yeah.
On the computer?
Yeah.
Pictures of the girls?
Mm-hmm.
But I did stuff like that?
Yeah, I testified that.
You testified?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay. In Broward and stuff like that. But I couldn't prove that. That's why they need the guy that fixed the Citrix systems. He lives in Ohio. I'm going to him. Okay?
Rodriguez was subsequently arrested for failing to turn over the book to authorities and eventually pleaded guilty to obstruction charges, and Rodriguez later passed away in 2016. And as time goes on, the internet continues to uncover more shocking files released by the DOJ, such as one referencing cloning babies, but I will get into that later. What I want to talk about now is a statement on the Pam Bondi hearing that was posted on the family social media account for Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of sex trafficking in connection with Epstein and is currently serving 20 years in prison. It reads, America's Attorney General told a House Judiciary Committee meeting today she hopes Ghislaine Maxwell dies in prison. That is an extraordinary thing for a nation's chief law officer to wish. It sounds less like justice than bloodlust. Ghislaine is serving a 20-year sentence, not a life term. To hope it proves fatal blurs the line between punishment and revenge. So it appears to be responding to a moment where Congresswoman Ross pressed Bondi on Maxwell's transfer from Tallahassee to the minimum security facility in Texas. Now, this was a move that Maxwell was apparently ineligible for, and Bondi claimed she learned about the transfer after the fact and wasn't involved. When asked who authorized it, Bondi deflected with this.
Who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, Hopefully will die in prison. You should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
The post on the Maxwell social media ends with this. The Justice Department is already under scrutiny for its handling of the Epstein files. It now faces a simpler question. If the guardian of the law talked like a shock jock, what faith should the public have in the system she runs? The whole situation reveals a troubling paradox. It appears Ghislaine Maxwell's family is criticizing the very justice system that made Ghislaine's transfer possible. Whether the criticism stems from fear of a life sentence or calculated strategy, one thing is clear. The handling of this case continues to raise questions about equal justice under the law.
Secretary Lutnick today was testifying on the Hill, and he said that he had visited Epstein's Island in 2012 with his wife and children, and that's after he said that he had cut ties with Epstein. And Justice Department documents show that he was in contact with Epstein through 2018 over messages. So does the White House stand behind Secretary Lutnick right now, or given what he has said today, has there been any shift in how the White House is viewing Secretary Lutnick's performance?
If you have SNAP or Medicaid, you may qualify for a free iPhone or Samsung, plus up to 10 gigabytes of data. Apply online in just
That question, does the White House still stand behind Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, came after Lutnick admitted under oath that he visited Jeffrey Epstein's island in 2012 with his wife and children.
And we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together.
Now, this contradicts a previous statement he made where he claimed to have cut all ties with Epstein in 2005. And what's even crazier is that newly released documents appear to show that Lutnick remained in contact with Epstein through 2018, 15 years after he claimed to have cut ties with the convicted sex offender. So the reporter asked a simple question: does any of this matter to the White House? And the response was this.
No, Secretary Lutnick remains a very important member of President Trump's team, and the president fully supports the secretary. I will just point out that there are a lot of wins in the news this week that people in this room have not asked about, because you continue to ask questions about the same subject, so let me point them out for you.
Now, just to give some quick context as to why this Lutnick situation matters beyond just the optics, sitting officials are expected to avoid conflicts of interest and entanglements that compromise their service. However, there is no formal mechanism that forces a cabinet secretary to resign over personal associations. That decision sits almost entirely with the president. Congress can impeach, but that is a process that requires a House vote and 2/3 majority conviction from the Senate. So all of this to say, when the White House says, quote, the president fully supports the secretary, they have essentially decided that Lutnick's ties to Epstein are not a problem. Social media is pointing out that the subject the press secretary seems annoyed reporters keep bringing up is a sitting cabinet member's ties to a convicted child sex trafficker. And instead of addressing it, the White House pivoted to talking about wins, which, if you remember from yesterday, is similar to what Attorney General Pam Bondi did during her hearing on the Epstein Transparency Act. Here is an example.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
While we're on the subject of the Pam Bondi hearing, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett appeared to drop an absolute bombshell at the hearing. Check this out.
I don't know what the president might have done with Jeffrey Epstein, but unlike this administration, I believe that facts matter. So let's talk about the facts. Fact number one, Donald Trump is one of the most named people in the Epstein files. At least 5,000 files contains more than 38,000 references to Trump, his wife, or Mar-a-Lago. Fact number two, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell made young girls available to Trump on multiple occasions. For example, according to this file, Ghislaine Maxwell presented a young girl to President Trump who spent more than 20 minutes apparently flirting with her.
Now, none of this is proven. The Congresswoman is just reading what she has seen in the files, but Crockett didn't stop there. She then went after the Attorney General directly.
Democratic colleagues have been attacked this entire committee hearing. They have been lied on, and Frankly, the American people weren't looking for that. They were looking for answers about the corruption that they see coming from this administration. In the written testimony of this witness, she stated that when she took office, she had two main goals. The first was to end the weaponization of justice, and second, to return the department to its core mission. Not only have you lied about both, you've intentionally done the exact opposite. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps.
And then she brought it home with this.
Saying that the president is a pedophile, but there is a lot of evidence in these files that suggests that he's very close friends with a lot of men who are pedophiles. What's crazy about all of this is just that this is a big cover-up.
She don't be playing
and this
around.
administration is engaged in it. In fact, this administration is complicit.
Bondi responded by saying this.
This is what she didn't want to talk about. Texas, from Cuba, convicted, homicide, arson, weapon offense.
Convicted. So what we talking about? Convict some of these perpetrators that rape these women that are sitting behind you that you refuse to even acknowledge they are here.
And as I mentioned previously in the video, the internet continues to uncover more shocking files released by the DOJ. In this one, a man that goes by the name of Brian Bishop sent an email to Epstein that reads, "Attached is the doc you requested. It's the use of funds spreadsheet for the designer baby and human cloning company. This gets us out of our self-funded garage biology phase to the first live birth of a human designer baby and possibly a human clone within 5 years. Once we reach the first birth, everything changes and the world will never be the same again, much less the future of the human species." Another email in the files, allegedly sent from Jeffrey Epstein to a man named Barnaby Marshy, reads, "Should we build a mind reader? It would use de-encryption, new understandings of the brain. Can we involve the New York ACAD of Sciences in one of our projects? I think it would be good for you as well as them. Should we do a project on tissue regeneration?" And in parentheses, it says, "cloning. I'm excited to accompany you as a voyeur on Madarin's adventure." This gives the public a peek into what Epstein was possibly interested in outside the world of finance. Now, as each day goes on, people come up with new theories and new opinions regarding the DOJ's release of the Epstein files, and the public continues to dig through the millions of redacted documents that the DOJ has released, along with lawmakers doing the same thing. And as the months continue to go on, lawmakers are going to find more and more and more things in those unredacted files that are hopefully released to the public to give everybody a much clearer view about what was possibly going on with Epstein and his inner circle. As always, drop a comment down below. My name is Jackson Buhai, and I will see you in the next one.
All right.
Go to the website.
I've had my fill of his evilness. If y'all like the video, man, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Please press the like button. What do you call it? Comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. We are well on our way to our 500 mark here on YouTube. Appreciate you on Twitch, man. We are on our way to our 20 mark. You feel me? We just started over there, so I appreciate y'all tapping in as well. If y'all want to go ahead and support the channel, please hit that link that is pinned at the top of the chat, www.alldayeverydayllc.net. Look a little something like that. Happy Black History Month to everybody. You feel me? We did drop the Black History Month hoodie. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and zoom in for you so you can see what we got going on. You feel me? I've created every single one of these pieces on the site. Just want to say celebrate Black History Month, February 2026. I did this on February 3rd. You feel me? And we in there. Got the ADED right there on the sleeve. Got the ADED stamp on the other one. And on the back, of course, you got to represent ADED all day, every day. You feel me? So that's the Black History joint. And then we got the t-shirt too. Let me show you what the t-shirt look like. And if you type the word black, BLACK, all in capital letters, what do you call it, in the discount code box at the checkout, you get 20% off on your whole order. You feel me? So happy Black History Month. Go check it out. You know what I'm saying? But just real clean. Got the people gathering. Got the ADED on on both sleeves. Got it purple, maroon, red. You know, everything popping. You know what I'm saying? Let me go ahead and see if it'll let me zoom in real quick. There you go. Black History Month 2026. ADED on that sleeve. Got it on this one, the circled one. And then on the back, I'm pretty sure it said ADED on the back of it as well. But, you know, so go check it out. Y'all get a chance. And then, of course, we got the cloud graphic. Just like on the whole ADED city behind me. You know what I mean? You got it all the way down for the onesies for the babies. On the back it say ADED. You got it in a bunch of different colors. You got the pink, got the black, baby blue. Feel me? That shit hard. Yellow and the gray. Every piece on the site, most of them, they all have a bunch of color waves. So you'll be able to have a variety of things to choose from. We got purses for the ladies, long sleeves. That thing got a hood on it too. That thing hard. Got the dresses, the socks. I just washed these and a bunch of ADED stuff today. I got this shirt right here. We got it in the adult version of it as well. You know what I'm saying? Got all type of stuff on here, man. Go check it out. Got the hats, the side hat. I got these socks too. Got this shirt. Probably wear this shirt tomorrow. I got this shirt. Got this one in white. I get all of my stuff in white, but I gotta start getting some different colors. I got this hat. You know what I'm saying? My boy Landro, he picked that one up. I like this hoodie right here. It's just real simple. ADED all day, every day. And then on the back, you got the little cloud graphic. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I took my time with all of this stuff. So I hope y'all like it. Y'all go check it out. Go grab something. Join the ADED family today. You feel me? I got this shirt. I got the crop top hoodie for the ladies. All type of stuff. When Christmas time was here, we had all type of stuff for the Christmas edition. You still go check that stuff out. I like that stuff a lot. I'm still grab some of that stuff. But we got the whole Rep Your Land collection. You know what I'm saying? I had a bunch of people email me and tell me where they were from. And I made everybody their own shirt from what country they from. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we got a bunch of stuff on here, man. Y'all just go check it out. I got this shirt on right now. Shout out to my cousin, man. Little Stevie, a.k.a. Little Swift, Too Swift. Feel me? Long live Swift. I got that shirt on right now. I miss my cuz, man. Anyways, like I said, when y'all get a chance, www.alldayeverydayllc.net. You feel me? Now go ahead and go check it out. Anyways.
You have now tuned in with your favorite dark-skinned friend with a beard.
I find something more funny and entertaining to laugh about on the next stream. I just had to get some of that. I had to see what the heck was going on, man. Even from the grave, this man allegedly is still causing a lot of pain, and people is just showing up missing and dying all along the way. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. Just stay prayed up. You know, hug your loved ones. And then until the next stream, I'll see y'all, all right? Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, hit the hype stars, man. Get your boy in that algorithm. I love y'all. Talk to